I got mine.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, John. I was like,
I was waiting for you to push the button. I was like, is he going in? Was it?
yeah,
Hey,
like 14
everybody.
seconds in.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So I'm really, really happy to actually be on this call with not only Jay. I always get these directions wrong. Jay, Kris, and Mikey. That confused me, but because I haven't seen Kris in a long time, and I'm really, really excited to spend the next hour, 2 hours chatting with him, possibly 2 hours. Who knows?
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, however long it lasts, just to hang out and chat with Kris.
Nice.
Welcome. It's been ages, Kris.
It has been. Absolutely. I just randomly caught you guys last week and just started.
That's awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, it's nice. It's nice to have you on, and it's going to be really cool to hear some of the stories. I'm sure we have a few to discuss. But before we go on, I just want to say hello to the people that have jumped on. We're streaming over 3 platforms right now. We're streaming over 2 platforms on Facebook, the Casino Dealers Lounge, the Casino Industry Canada, and of course, the Casino Dealer J YouTube channel. So hello, everybody there. Thanks for subscribing. Welcome aboard. We have Kris as our wonderful guest, and of course, John and Mike as the co-hosts as well. So I'd like to start. Kris, could you please let everybody know, for the people that didn't get to work with you, your casino background, how you got into the industry, how long you were there, what you ended up doing, where you went, everything like that.
I started in 1999 at the Palace Casino in Edmonton in West Edmonton Mall. I started because I had just finished college and really had no income, and my mom said, "Go do this. They're good with scheduling." She was a casino dealer for years before. Started at K-Days, so I started at Palace in 1999. Was there till about 2005. No, sorry, 2005. Then I went off to the cruise ships for about 5 years. Came back, worked one of my vacations at River Cree just when they opened for about 2 months, and then quit and went back to the cruise ships. And then I quit the cruise ships in 2000, and it was probably late 2009. And then ended up working at Century Casino on Fort Road for a little bit and got out of the business. I'm trying to think of that earlier today. I think I got out of the business in 2000 and maybe 13, somewhere around there, I think. I've got dates really messed up in my head there. Yeah.
So Kris, what are you doing now?
Now I'm a realtor. So I've been doing real estate since 2010. It'll almost be 11 years now for me doing that. Kind of kept in the casinos for the first, about 3-4 years, just kind of like 2 shifts a week, trying to have some money because real estate is slow to start and expensive. So I just kind of kept about 2 shifts a week there, and then ended up calling it quits one day and just saying, I'm done with this.
So if anybody wants to get hold of you to talk about real estate, how would they?
You call me, text me, email me, 780-993-1033. Moving and grooving, Kris Hooven. I use that on the craps table, but I never ever have used it in my real estate career. I find it cheesy.
I really hope that becomes like a bench sign where we'll be driving past it and it's moving and grooving with Kris Hooven, and it has to have your face.
You know it. I will definitely not be doing that.
I'll wear the shirt.
Yeah, exactly, right? You will not see this mug on a bench, I can guarantee you.
So, Kris, quick question. So, can you remember your first night in casinos?
Oh yeah, because I dealt 3 suited sevens on the $3 blackjack table, and I remembered her name forever. She was a little short Filipino woman that was at the Palace Casino every single day, playing $3 blackjack, and she won it, and I had no idea what was going on but I was too busy trying to like count to 21 at that point. And I will definitely remember it. Blackjack won. It was the table right beside the pit stand. There was the craps table, the pit stand right behind, and the table that stared out the window into Fantasyland. I will remember that for my day.
That's weird. Because of the 5 years I was in the Palace Casino, I dealt blackjack for, I think, about 5 minutes, maybe 10, and it was on that one table. So that was the only table I ever dealt blackjack on. And it was, the reason being is someone told me, like, John, come on, I want to see if you can deal blackjack. And I was sitting box at the time, and there was no game. So they're like, okay, come over. So I went and stood on there, and I dealt for 5 minutes, whatever, 5-10 minutes. And nobody told me that those dollars were a bet. I thought it was for the dealer. I thought it was a tip. I was like, oh my God, de la paix. And I was like, and I was ringing the bell, and they're like, ah. And then when they came up, they're like, John, what are you doing? They're like, oh, they love me. They're like, no, they didn't. That was a separate. I was like, oh, there's a big downer. So I said, yeah, half those tips are all fake then.
You might want to put those back in the tray.
Exactly, yeah.
You might have got paid sevens on it. Yeah, I'll always remember that. I paid 3 suited sevens. And I don't even think that's a thing in the casino anymore, is it? It's all lucky right now.
Yeah, lucky for the most part.
Sorry, my
lucky ladies. Oh, you have a fire in your house? Was that what that was?
No, laptop keeps going off with messages. So I've turned it off. I'm not going to do that on my laptop. That's my life. My phone doesn't stop ringing.
So okay.
Go ahead, John.
No, I was just gonna. I mean, the whole, Jay and I were just talking about this. Originally, we were just talking about, like, we'd come on once a week, we talk about craps, but ended up being like just talking crap with people that we liked and people. So we just extended to that. So, what was your favorite game to deal?
Craps, absolutely. I mean, at Palace, after I learned it, which, by the way, John, you taught that was the only class you taught, and I was able to take that class. Yeah, that was. I mean, I also don't think I really ever left that game once I learned it. It was one of those things of because I was a daytime dealer too, and there wasn't many. Most of the craps dealers when I started dealing craps were evenings and weekends, kind of students or that kind of people. So I was a Monday to Friday, like, day shift person. So I spent every single day there with you.
Yeah. Yeah, we were there a lot. Yeah, I remember when, to be honest, I really enjoyed, like, the training craps at the time. I only taught it the one time in the Palace, and after that, they probably didn't want me to do it again. But I had a great time. I really enjoyed, like, training you and Mike Stark, and I think who's it? Yeah, there was obviously a few others, but yeah, it was really fun.
I remember that. Who else was in our class? It was a good group too. It was a really good group.
Like Tony was in there. We don't see it. He ended up being like an amazing dealer.
Rachel? Was that? She's a pit manager there now, isn't she? Rachel?
Oh yeah.
Pit manager, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
She was in a class. She was brilliant. She was a really good craft dealer.
Yeah, so we will. I remember someone came in on day 2. And the whole table was the way I taught it. I was like, okay, you're going to lose. How to do the pass line, the don't pass, and then I'm just going to flood the combats. I'm like, yeah, it's the same thing. Just keep doing that. And I remember someone came in and we're like, how long have they been training? They were like, day 2. And they're like, what? Oh, are they doing all this? And I was like, they'll pick it up. They're smart. And yeah, so it was really fun.
Yeah, it was. What was it, like a 4-6 week course or something? I think we did.
Oh, I can't remember. What's that Bing? Is that?
That's me. That's my laptop.
Oh,
is that
yeah.
I don't know why.
Your turkey's ready.
I also don't know how to stop it, so I'm sorry. It happened a lot. Yeah, I'll still remember the very first class. It was simply drop cutting. Drop cut. Just keep doing this. Get good at it. Practice it whenever you're sitting at a dead table. Just do whatever you can.
Yeah, cause we've talked a lot about that before. I mean, like, and Jay and I were on somebody else's video a while ago, and they were like, well, what tips can you do? Can you give other people who wanted to learn the game? And it's like dexterity. Like, it's a really, you can be really dumb, but if you've got great hands, it's huge, right? So practicing dexterity is really important. That was one of the tips that we had and we're talking about. But No,
Yeah.
it was all fun. I had a really good
That
time.
game is all hands. There's nothing. It's chips and hands. Like the better you are with being able to cut chips and drop chips, it's remarkable the difference it'll make in your game.
But I think as well, one of the biggest things that people become successful on it is you need to have an outgoing personality. I mean, you were awesome on it. I mean, you really were. I mean, it was so much fun to have you on it.
I'm a drag queen. I was on stage.
I know. Well, that's probably you were destined to be one, right? I mean, you were destined to be great on caps. You're just an entertainer, right? And it was always fun to deal with you, and the players loved you, and it was And I think that's why. Probably all of us spent so much time like on that game because we just had a lot of fun with the other people around us, right? Even the players, for the most part, we had a lot of fun with, right?
Yeah, because daytime we had a really good group of core players that came in every single day, and you knew their bets, and you had a laugh with them, and the crew was a lot of the same people too. So even I enjoyed dealing it because when the game was dead, you just sat around and chit chatted.
Yeah.
That made it a little more enjoyable than just standing at a $3 blackjack table dead looking at a fantasy fan.
Oh God, yeah. Just doing nothing.
Yeah, watching slot machines.
Awesome.
Okay, Chris. When you were went on the ships, what was your first experience like going on ships? Because obviously it's totally different.
It's shocking. Like you thought you knew the casino industry from being in Palace for 5 years. You had no idea of the casino industry until you got onto the cruise ships. I remember being wowed at how big the ship was, and in the end it turned out to be like the second smallest ship of the fleet, and I was lost. I had absolutely no idea where I was. I was late for many shifts. Like they send you on a break, you come back, and I was always 5 minutes, 10 minutes late because I had no clue where I was going. And then I was also shocked at the drinking, which I was fine with. The first night it was come have a drink. I'm like, I have training at like, because you always have to go through all that new safety training, new study, new hire safety training. And I mean, I think I was drinking till 4 or 5 in the morning and then had to go to that at 7 o'clock in the morning, which I got a real quick understanding of what the cruise ships were going to be like. And I haven't stopped since.
So, where were some of the places that you got to travel on your time with the ships?
I was really lucky because I got put on a lot of different itineraries, and I kind of tried to really force that. I started with Western Mexico out of LA for half that cruise, and then halfway through we did a relocation up to Vancouver, and then did Alaska. I did Eastern Western Caribbean. I did Hawaii. I did Panama Canal. I did Northern Europe because I joined the ship just when they were kind of finishing with Mediterranean. So I did a lot of Spain and Portugal, and then docking out of North Hampshire. No.
Harwich.
Harwich?
No.
No.
Oh, geez. Southampton, not North.
Oh.
Southampton, we were docked at it. So I was lucky. I got a lot of really good cruises. I got a lot of, and then I did a couple of those 3 and 4 day booze cruise gambling cruises, and I hated those. I mean, you saw Nassau, Bahamas, Coco Cay, which was the private island, which you didn't get off at. That was the day to sleep in. And then Port Canaveral in Florida, which you have no idea how much money you can spend at Walmart if that's the only place you have to shop. I came home, I had like brand new bed covers every other week. I had fresh flowers in my cabin, just trying to spend money, trying to do something.
The first ship I ever worked on was out of Cape Canaveral, and we did 3 and 4 days cruises to this private island. And you used to get the taxi drivers that come up every, they knew when the crew were coming off, whatever. And we ended up getting a regular taxi driver, and he had one arm. But it wasn't like, and it was the weirdest thing. It was like this arm was missing, so his left arm was missing, and he just had the right arm. And when he wanted to kind of like change gears or to go into reverse, he had to kind of like hold the steering wheel with his leg, and then he would change it. And then it was like, oh, he's so much fun. Was it Merritt Island, the mall you used to go to? And it was like nothing else to do because you're in the middle of nowhere. And then we just go to Merritt Island. How can you spend so much money, like $200 in like Walgreens?
Ruby.
Yeah.
You had lunch over Tuesdays. You went to
Ron John's. Remember Ron John's?
No, wrong.
Oh, they used
Wrong?
to. Yeah, it might be Ron John's at the world's biggest surf shop. So we had like
Oh,
all
okay.
surfing gear and stuff like that. It was actually a cool store, but it was yeah, it was. Mind you, this was a long time ago. You may not have been born when I went there.
Hey, I'm getting up there. I mean, turning 40 next week. I'm not that yet.
Oh,
40
well,
next
happy
week?
birthday for next week, Chris.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
So, I mean, COVID, I mean, I'm going to be sitting here eating KFC and Dairy Queen ice cream cake off of fine china.
Happy birthday.
That sounds
Well,
awesome.
that's what I want to do. I said, that's what I want. I want KFC and Dairy Queen ice cream cake.
You know what? Every year I'm like, when it's my birthday, my family are like, oh, what do you want? All I ever ask for really is, I'm like, I need ice cream cake. Don't care about the rest. Just give me some ice cream cake.
Yeah. Although we're going to try to shop local. So we're going to get, instead of KFC, we're going to do a local fried chicken place that's just up the street. Northern Chicken.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And then there's a ice cream shop on White Ave, a Filipino one. I think it's called Yellow. They make some sort of ice cream cake he wants to go and get. We just want to try that as much as we can, shop local instead of Dairy Queen will be fun. KFC.
That's true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, okay, Chris, you spent a long time in ships and you spent a long time in casinos and you worked in a few different casinos. What advice would you give anybody? Because I know Danielle's on here and she's an incredible dealer and all games dealer.
Last week? Was that her name? I forgot.
Yeah, she was on last week.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you guys were chatting about this. I didn't know how to really type too much. Go, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. You're young and silly. Go. Like it's an experience. It makes you grow as a person, makes you grow as a dealer. It's wicked. Go. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I would, and that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, what advice would you give Danielle or anybody else if they were watching, because we had that opportunity. All of us had the opportunity, and thankfully we took it and went and experienced the kind of cool things. And just wanted your take on it. And would you recommend it to anybody?
Absolutely. I mean, would I go back and do it right now? Absolutely not. Not in my life. I couldn't. I can't stay up past 11:30 anymore. But yeah, I mean, when you're young and ready to explore the world, you get to see the world, which is great. I mean, and I always say that I travel, but I just got a taste of stuff. I mean, because you dock for a day, you kind of go and venture out a little bit and see some. I've been back to some of those ports since and actually discovered the whole place, which was kind of nice. But yeah, go and just not even just seeing the world, but like I learned a lot more about casinos. I learned how to become a better dealer because of, at the Palace, I learned from Palace people. And that's one of the things I respect about you, John, is because you came from that. You worked in all these different casinos. At Palace, the people knew the Palace way, and that was it.
Yeah.
The Casino ABS way. So and it was a very narrow-minded kind of view of it. Not saying it's a wrong way, but you go there and all of a sudden it was a totally different attitude towards things. You had everyone giving you advice from around the world, from the casinos they went to, and you got better. I still remember the first roulette game that I dealt, and they put a cash chip up on the straight up on a number, and I hit it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I honestly didn't. It was. I think I want to say her name was Gillian, Scottish girl.
Gillian Anderson?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Scottish girl. I'm like, hey, boss, what are you? It's 35 $5 chips. How much is that? I'm like, oh, I just give her. Oh, okay. Like you because you just were used to seeing chips and not value, and then so when she just said it's still just chips, give the guy 35 chips. They're just $5 chips. I was like, oh, this makes sense. So it opens up your mind as to, because it was a very narrow-minded way of looking at things.
I agree. I think once you go out there, and I think it's all with all the different traveling, right? It gives you a better perspective because you get different opinions. Some of you like, don't like that, I won't do it. And some of you like, oh, that's kind of a cool. But I mean, it gives you a broader understanding of different ways that people do things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a challenge, like you said, when you work in one place all the time, your scope is very narrowed down to just the people that work there and and for good or bad, that's really what you have, right? And it's really just experience, right? You go out and you see new things, and you're like, oh, that's cool, I'll do that, or that's awful, I don't want to do that, and why did they do that?
We also learned a lot about like customer service. I mean, customer service, we were good at it back in the Palace, but it really got you going more forward because that was all your income, really. I mean, as a dealer, you're not paid a lot salary. It was $450 a month. That was my pay when I first started. I think I got one raise up to $500 a month, and then I started managing. So I mean, then it changed the salary altogether. But like you learned how to cater to the people that you see tipping you, and learning how. And this is one thing that I've noticed actually coming back to casinos: learning how to say thank you for a tip. I go back and play now, and I'm so shocked at how many people are just like, I'm just saying, you're welcome.
And one of the things I really liked, they were very subtle about it too. Like I remember when I used to work on the shifts, whatever. Like if I was taking off, say you, Chris, and he'd be like, hey, and he'd say, okay, thanks, Jay, thanks, Mike, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'd be like, oh, okay. Straight away, I'm like, okay, these 3 people tip. I pay attention to those, and I cater to those, and have a laugh with them. The rest don't. And you're like, okay, when you get on, you've already got a bit of a head start, right? So it was really kind of like a cool way that they did things, and something that you never see anywhere else, really. I suppose outside of Britain, I guess, where you used to go. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I still remember actually. I knew because you had warned me about that before I went to the cruise ship. But the first time that I really ever heard it, it just blew my mind. And now I do it to my husband, and it drives him bonkers. But he's starting to do it back to me. Like he'll do that to me. And now it's also what we do for our cat. So she doesn't listen, but it blew my mind. I love the players' reactions whenever you do that to, especially because I remember my very first ship was a female pit boss, and doing that, they're like, "That's rude! How dare you!" That's how we do it here, I guess, and it works. You hear it over everything.
I've no idea where it came from, but I know we used to use it in I saw it in British casinos, and I saw like a lot of where British people are. They seem to do it. I don't know where it came from, to be honest, but yeah, you're right. It just kind of like cuts through anything, right? Any noise in the casino, he seems to cut through it.
You can hear above all the screaming. You can hear it through all the slot machines. It's just this recognizable noise that should never be made, and I think that's what it is.
And it used to make me laugh whenever you were in public areas, off the ship, and you did it by sheer habit. All the casino people would be like, just trying to find who's calling them.
Absolutely. I actually remember there was one time when I went somewhere, and the automatic dealer machine used to kind of make a sound like it because it was not functioning very good at all, and everyone just everyone would.
Oh, that's awesome.
We have a couple of people on here.
Nicola. Oh my God. Hi, gorgeous.
Yep.
Oh, Selena. Oh my God. Look at this.
Selena, the former champion.
Right?
No,
I thought that was a bottle of wine.
I think it's just the one, but it might just be inside of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I thought it was wine as well. I'm like, man, Chris is going hardcore. He just took the top off. And he's just like,
oh man, I love cocktail hour. Cocktail hour is a good time. I'll probably be stopping halfway through just to go make another one, but
don't blame you.
No, absolutely not. I'll bring the laptop with me.
So, Chris, what do you miss about casinos?
Nothing. Oh, sorry. Right. No, I'm totally kidding. I miss the people. The majority of the people. I mean, there were some people that I did not get along with, but that's very honest with me because I wasn't an ass kisser. And I think one of the big things is I miss the games. I love the math behind the games. I love the strategy, not even the strategy behind the games, but just the excitement of being a better dealer, getting better. That was one of the things that was great about the ships is that you would constantly, to try to get your, what was it, 5? Was 5 the top?
Oh, when I was there, it was rated like A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it used to be when I was at A was like an A-rated dealer was the top and B.
Right. Yeah, they used that it was still going that just when I first kind of got on the cruise ships, and I think they got rid of it actually. So it was one of those things you were trying to get to that point, trying to get better in that. I liked back at the Palace, like our original crafts crew, it was a constant thing of trying to be better, trying to figure out a new press to impress everyone, trying to come up with a new call. I didn't come up with new calls, but just trying to do something to impress each other, I think was a really fun kind of attitude to have about it all.
Yeah.
I think that's a common theme with all the people we've had on from the start of this, from like the original craps dealers in the Palace. Because I joined in, I think it was like the 7th of January in 2000. Excuse me. So most of the people had already been dealing for a few months by the time I got there. But there's a common theme that runs through all the conversations we've had with everybody that was there is the camaraderie and the kind of like everybody wanted to try and get better together. Do you know what I mean? They wanted to get better and they wanted to strive to get better, and everybody seemed to push each other to get better. And you're right. I mean, the original crew and when you guys were on too was really, really good.
Well, it helped that it was a brand new game to Alberta, kind of. I mean, they had the tubs and things at K-Days, but it was a new game, so everyone was kind of new. Everyone was trying to learn together at the exact same time and improve that way. Yeah, I remember like there was a lot of like really good dealers that we had there, and there was a lot of camaraderie and there was a lot of competition between everyone. It was like the healthy competition.
Yeah,
so I really like that.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I had a lot of fun there. I mean, to be honest, I've said this before. I probably spent about maybe 6 or 7 shifts off craft in 5 years there. And it would be funny. Sometimes the games would die, and they'd be like, "Oh, John, go and stand up in high limits." And I go and stand up there, and I'd be like, "I don't even know the rules of this game." And then if anything happened, I'd be like, "Oh, I'll just hang on a second," and I just go and get the other pit boss. I'm like, "I don't know what you do when something goes wrong in Baccarat. I haven't dealt that in forever." You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it was. I think as well, a lot of us it was an exciting. Gambling is an exciting industry, right? When you're in it, you know, and it's like, oh, it's exciting. It's an entertainment industry, and it's a fun. I mean, we've talked about this before. I don't think we've been in a job that's kind of like you go there and you can just laugh all day, all day. And if you make a mistake, no big deal, just whatever. You can laugh for like 7 hours, right? And then you go afterwards and you drink too much.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the other thing, the night shifts. I mean, I still remember whoever was last break would run over to Boston Pizza and make an order for 30 people. And you'd open there, be just a counter full of drinks. And of course, they were happy to have it. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it used to be fun going up the BPs afterwards. But I remember when I first started, they used to let us drink in the bar. Remember when it was the bar used to be when you first walked in the casino on kind of like the right-hand side? When I was first in the Palace, they were like, "Oh, you can drink there after the shift." I'm like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Oh my god!" You see all the dealers getting drunk there, and the whole table full of drinks, empty drinks. It was fun. I think it stopped not long after.
Oh, I don't remember being able to drink there, but I was also, for the most part, I was a daytime dealer, so I didn't get a whole lot of the after hours drinking. I hated working night shifts because I liked having my nights to myself. So.
Because we used to also drink downstairs. Remember there was, what was it, not Sherlock Holmes, what was the one downstairs, that like the English bar that was downstairs from the Palace?
Elephant Castle.
Oh, the castle. That's right, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
God.
Golden tea machine.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did we just go back there a couple of years ago for a big reunion? Was it Elephant Castle or was it right on...
Perfect. That was Sherlock.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, we went there and had like a little reunion. That was a nice night actually to see everyone.
Yeah, that was actually Loretta posted on Facebook and it popped up and they showed, and it was like I couldn't believe it was 3 years ago.
Was it that long?
Yeah, it was like it's gone so quick. And in all honesty, hopefully we can do it again soon because that was so much fun to see everybody. I'm like, oh my god! And then there was some people obviously we haven't seen in a while, and they were like, oh my god. They've lost a lot. They haven't aged well. They were probably talking about me, to be honest. When they're like,
you never had. Yeah, I do remember actually one of I can't remember who it was, but walked up to me like, "Ooh, you gained weight." Thanks. Yes, I have. I was very skinny back at the Palace days. So.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
you were skinny.
Me too, Chris.
Oh yeah, we were tiny.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
No.
Yeah, you can blame it on the fact that you survived on cigarettes
Yeah.
Yes, rubbing on cigarettes and vodka. That's what we were doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. The casino diet.
So, Chris, I have a question. Obviously, none of us are really ever going to go back into casinos. So, is there anything looking back you wish you'd had done that you didn't?
Good question.
I worked at a bunch of different casinos. I did the cruise ships for a good long time. Yeah, there's a couple cruises that I wish I got to go to. I wish I could have got onto an Asian one and a Australia type cruise. But that really in my casino realm, I think there's nothing that I missed. Actually, no. Yes, I wish I had learned how to deal Paigao tiles.
Oh, really?
I was all games except for that one. Because that game always just looked like fun.
Well, I dealt it. I think twice or 2 or 3 times.
I remember you learning it. We would sit on the craps table, and you were learning it at that point. I was a new craps table at that point.
Yeah, and and Toe was there, and I was like, "How am I doing, Toe?" And he was polite. He's like, "Oh, good, good, good." But in his head, he's probably like, "Oh, fuck."
Horrible.
You fuck.
Yeah, he just sat there all day long. He was good.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Jeez.
Hey.
Oh my God, your kids are like, how old are all your kids now?
So that's the youngest. That's Jared. He's 13. So
13. Oh, jeez.
the youngest is 13. And then my oldest son he's now taller than me by quite a bit. He's 16. And my daughter is 17. She'll be 18, and Michaela will be 18 in under a month.
She'll be 18.
Holy.
Like, that's what I mean. It's kind of scary. Like Rhonda and I at some point could have a child in a casino. That would be insane.
Are you talking them into starting or no?
No, she's like, no.
My mom was going to talk me into it.
But to be honest, I mean, I don't think it's as fun as it was when we were there. Like there's no. I mean, I think when he lengthened the hours, it kind of hampered the social side of it. You know what I mean? Like going over BPs or going after work and kind of like having fun with it, your friends and stuff like that. I mean,
I remember coming back from the cruise ships, and when I started working at the Century, even back then, it felt like it was a completely different industry. People just showed up, they did their job. No one cared if they were good or not, and that was it. Like everyone you were a body at a table. It felt like at that point. And I got in a lot of trouble coming back from the cruise ships because I'd learned a lot of bad habits on the cruise ships that made me a better and faster dealer and proficient dealer. But it wasn't the Century way or the Palace way. I called it the ABS way because everyone from ABS went to Century. And so because I didn't do it that way, I got in a lot of trouble. But I'm way faster, and this makes way more sense. I always remember picking up the cards. I picked them up wrong. Supposed to slide your hand this way along, pick them up or something, and I would just scoop them all up and be done. Because it made sense, and it felt smoother, it felt easier, and they just constantly yell at me for it. And some would get mad, some would just be like, you're doing that wrong again. But I'm like, it's better. It's the better way to do it.
That was one of the things that I always disliked about casinos. Some people are so kind of like narrow-minded and not open to change. Do you know what I mean? Right. Like you said, this is a better way to do it. It's smoother, and they're like, nope, it's not the way we do it here. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I was always open whenever I was like, on a craps table we got away with murder because, in all honesty, most pit managers or GMs or surveillance didn't have a clue what was going on anyway. So they'd be like, he's playing with the chips. I'm like, really? You've no idea what he paid out, but you're saying, tell him to stop playing with the chips. Like, come on, man.
I got my 2 months at River Cree. I had that happen to me. Annie, is she on? She confirmed this. This was great. My third day there, I'm dealing, and it was the tall, skinny guy. And I looked around, and everyone was not tall and skinny. Is palming chips. Can you please tell him to stop? And so she pulled me aside, and we kind of went to the break room on my break, and she's like, so I got a call from security. They're noticing that you're palming chips. And I was like, I'm why the bother would I palm a $5 chip? it doesn't even buy a pack of smokes at this point. Why am I going to? And we're in the break room, and it was in the back smoke room at the Cree. And I remember starting to complain about the surveillance. How dare they? What are they even doing? And the head of surveillance was sitting right there, and he's like, "No problem." I'm like, "Yeah, your guys up there. Can you get him to stop watching me?" And until they can tell me what a Hornhive midnight pays when 12 crap rolls, and you got $15 there, then get the hell away from my damn table. Stop watching craps. I'm not palming chips. I'm just going too fast for you. But people who don't know the game, they just look and they want to try to tell you what you're doing, but they have no idea.
I remember one time in the Palace, and it was kind of close to the end of where I'd been there too long, and I was like, yeah, I've done this, and I was just pretty close to leaving. I'd even stopped checking the dice. You know, like you're supposed to check the dice in the morning and the numbers and da-da-da-da. And I was like, I'm done. I just don't want to do this anymore. I want to leave. And the only time in I think the 18 years I dealt craps, I got pulled at the following day. I'd finished at like 7 or whatever, after my shift. Next day I come in, and Steve come up to me and said, "Oh, John, I got to write you up." I'm like, "What for?" He goes, "The dice yesterday, there was one of them in there that had a different security number to the other 4." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, they noticed when they checked them in at night, there was 4 of them had the same security number, one didn't." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, write me up. I didn't check."
Yeah.
I didn't want to lie, and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't check at all."
Of course.
But that was the only time I'd ever seen it, and it was like the time that I never bothered checking.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen them not match the numbers.
Yeah, it was that.
Funny,
So that
the
was
one time that you don't do it is the time that, of course, they don't match.
so that was the only time I think I got a written one in the Palace, which was justified. I was like, "Yeah, man, just write me up. It's fine." And Steve was like, "You sure?" I know Steve was cool about it. I was like, "Man, just write it up. I'm okay. Don't worry about it."
I don't think I ever got a written warning at the Palace, and I should have. Like, I did a lot of stuff that I should never have done and should have definitely got written up for.
Yeah, you should have.
I definitely should. I can't believe it. My favorite one was I was heading down to Calgary for the weekend, and I decided that I wanted to leave early. And so I remember calling, and her name is just escaping me right now, Karen's mom. Oh, God rest her soul. Oh, goodness. Ellen, yes. And I remember calling, and I called from a payphone to make sure that it was echoey. And I said, "I'm stuck in an elevator. And I'm not going to make it for my noon shift." And she's like, "You're what?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm stuck in an elevator. Like I've been here for a while. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here for, so I can't come. I won't make it in." She's like, "Okay." And then I went for the weekend to Calgary, came back, and she pulled me off, and she's like, "Hey, Kristopher." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Last time I checked, they don't have TELUS payphones in elevators. Caller ID." I was like, and then I tried. I was like, "Oh, I wasn't stuck in the elevator. I was stuck in the elevator, but we just gotten out." But the maintenance guy was holding us behind because he thought that we did. And I just started trying to keep going, and I just kept digging a bigger hole and a bigger hole. And she just looked at me, just stop talking. Call me and lie to me again, and you're fired. How does that sound? I was like, "Okay, should I go back to the table now?" She's like, "Yeah, get going."
Yeah, Ellen was the one who actually wanted me to see if I could deal blackjack for that 5 minutes. She didn't notice. She put me on and saw me deal one hand, and then went away to do whatever. But yeah, so she was the reason I dealt blackjack for 10 minutes in the Palace.
She was the one that I had my interview with, my very first day, and my mom was with me for that interview because she knew Ellen. They worked together at ABS. So they just were basically talking, and it was basically one of the things of like, "Yeah, you're hired. You're a passive kid. You're automatically in." I think it was just like a calling that had to happen.
Yeah, you're kind of like a legacy dealer.
That's it. And you see that. You see a lot of full families who work at casinos. Their parents work there, the kids end up working there. You see a lot of that.
Yep, that was one.
Yeah.
It was a great job. I mean, it was an absolutely fantastic job, especially when I was in my, teens and early 20s. I loved it. I was on the EO shift every single time I worked a night shift. I had, I think, at one point, I think for about a year, I had the absolute best schedule. I worked 14s, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Mm.
It was middle of the week, 14-hour shifts, and then I had the whole Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off.
I remember that.
It was
I
fantastic.
remember that, unfortunately.
And I remember dealers complaining about me having this schedule. And I was like, learn craps. You know Caribbean stud poker. Congratulations. Like that's you're not a benefit to the casino knowing that 3 games. So because I knew craps, and again, most of the craps dealers at that time worked night shifts or weekends, they needed someone who was consistent throughout the week. So I just ended up getting that shift, and I think I was on it for like it had to be just under about a year, I think. Loved it. You were exhausted on Friday morning, but
Yeah.
I remember when I first joined the Palace, they were like, "Oh, you can start part time or you can go full time," and they were like a terrible shift. So I was like, "Who wants to work those?" They were like, "Well, you get the full time shift, and then there's something there's seniority, and you can kind of work your way up to a better shift." I was like, I don't want that. So they were like, "Okay, we'll guarantee you 1 shift a week, but you can work as much as you want to." And so I was like, "Okay." But I at the same time, I got a job in Northlands, working as like the slots in Northlands.
oh yeah.
So I was like, when they're going in, and I had no idea. I knew nothing about slots. They were like, "Oh, you worked in casinos. Don't worry, we'll train you." So literally, I would just jab things, and all I do was like jam coins. That was it, and slam the door a lot, and then go, "Yeah, oh, you broke it," and then I would just turn it off. That was my skill set. Slam the door, turn it off, blame the player, and walk away. So I was working there sometimes. Like I do 8 hours there, and then come to work in the Palace and work 7 hours there. They never told me I couldn't do it. They were like, "Oh, you can't deal in another casino." I was like, "Well, I'm not dealing. There's no tabletop."
Yeah.
So it was after about, I think, less than a week. They were like, I think I told somebody, and they were like, "Oh, you can't do that. You have to quit." I was like, "Okay." These 14-hour shifts were killing me by that point. I was like, "Yeah, all right, I don't want to do that anyway." So yeah, I quit it. That was my only time ever working in the slots department.
Yeah. It was never one for me. I always remember actually when I first started working at the Palace and seeing, because that was back when it was coins, and they had to do like the manual filling with the coins and everything. And I remember seeing a slot person there, and her hands were black from the coins, but she was having her cigarette and she was eating her sandwich. Oh, that's just disgusting.
Oh God, yeah.
Because our breaks were so short. If I wanted to get in dinner and I had to have a smoke during that 15 minutes. That was the one I loved about craps, having a 20-minute break. That was heaven. That was heaven having that one.
I remember when they first brought craps in, when I was there anyway, and they had the chair to sit box. I remember when when it originally was, and then to the left-hand side, you have to go up those stairs to the staff room. It was way before the one of that renovations anyway.
Yeah,
I remember we'd sit there, and I'd only been there. I think I started sit box after about a week that I was there. And so a lot of people I hadn't met, and oh my God, so many people gave me dirty looks as they walked on break, like, "Why has he got a chair? Who's the new guy with the chair?" And it was like, it was like, I don't even know this person. Why are they giving me? I've never spoken to him. Why are you giving me dirty looks?
I saw the first time sitting box, and I was just like, had my arm, did this with my arms, and just was like, I'm speed racking for you. Don't worry. It felt good to just sit down.
Well, Darren Evans, he told me, he goes, "Oh yeah, I get the same thing," but he just did what you did. Like he would be like, "Oh," he would just try and play with it and drive him crazy. He'd be like, "Oh, I gotta stand up, sitting down all day is just havoc on my back."
Yeah. What are you doing these days? Does anyone still talk to him?
The last I heard, he went back home to Wales. I don't know whatever happened to him then. Yeah, he went. From what I think. Yeah, he went back. I'm not 100% sure what he's doing back home, but I think he went back home to Wales.
Oh, good on him.
But, yeah, so hopefully he's doing well there. I mean, I like Darren. He was a funny guy.
He was really really good guy. He helped teach a lot too. Because he was skilled. He knew the game inside and out. We had the 4 boxmen that really knew the game. There was yourself. There was him. There was Bubba, and
Sean.
We argued a lot, me and him.
Is
he on? Am I going to be saying something I shouldn't be?
No, I'm not sure if he's ever come on here, to be honest. But He did know the game. He was very smart.
Oh, he did.
knew a lot about it. Like not just craps. He knew a lot about gaming altogether. Right? He was a very smart guy. I first worked with Sean on ships, and on the first ship I worked on, and yeah, he was actually we got on really well when I worked with him on ships. We may have been drunk all the time, but that's that might have explained it. But
yeah, no, he was good. I mean, we disagreed a lot. He didn't like my style of dealing. He didn't like my stick calls or anything along those lines. But my favorite ever was I remember being on craps and just gaying it up as much as I possibly could. And yes, darling, sweetheart, yes, oh, six, hard six, yeah. And he just was red as a tomato, and his head was just in his hands, and he was so embarrassed. And finally, he got the courage to look at me and go, your only job on that stick is to attract players. And before he could even say the last syllable of players, these two young guys came and go, this looks like a fun game. How do you play this? And I believe my job here is done. And he just got up and went to Baccarat. He was done. But he was so easy to rile up. So I think that was where it was. Like, just my personality with his, it was just so much fun to rile that guy up.
Yeah, he did have some easy trigger points to pull that you could kind of.
And you had to poke them. It was my nature. I had to.
Okay. So, okay, here's my question. You know, this is what I love about the Palace. That casino gave me so many opportunities to DJ the Christmas party. And like, even after you guys were gone, I was still DJing these Christmas parties. I think I even DJed a couple when I wasn't even working there. So it was really awesome. But one of my most favorite Christmas parties involved you as the entertainment, because before I get to you, because you were the best part, of course. That was one of the best because we had Matt and he did a comedy skit, and then you did your skit, and they also gave us all this free stuff like Budweiser, like earmuffs and gloves and scarves, and it's like they brought us this box while we were playing music. It's like, oh, you guys have to like hand this all out to everybody. This is just like extra presents and stuff. Marketing got it for us. I'm like, okay. So then we were just like whipping these things at everybody on the dance floor because everyone was so drunk, right? So then like they were whipping it back. Oh my God, it was so much fun. I don't even remember the hotel, but I remember that. I remember Matt, and I remember you. What do you remember of that time at the Christmas party? That year.
I remember. Well, I went in drag and performed. And I did like 3 numbers. I think it was honestly the only Christmas party I ever went to, like the formal staff Christmas party. I remember it went at your house, John. But like I remember I performed like 2 or 3 songs. I think I did a cheesy Christmas song. I think I did Cher. And then I probably did some sort of Britney Spears song. And I think you did a pretty clean roundhouse too. I don't know if you had I was a gymnast, so I mean it was difficult heels, but I got it.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like half of the staff had no idea who I was. Not an absolute clue who I was. And so that was a lot of fun. I still remember this. This is a Sean. Bubba got a hotel room in the hotel because he's like, I'm going to drink and I don't want to go anywhere. And he's like, here, take my key, go to Sean, and hand it to him. I go, I'm in room 1402. Come see me later. Like I can't. Like I push his buttons, but I was like, I can't do that one. I can't. I'm sorry.
You guys, seriously.
Yeah, it was the oddest. Was it 2000? Yeah, it had to have been. It had to be somewhere around like 2000. I was like maybe a year into working at that casino, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. That one. I remember like, and back then I had like no money, so I couldn't afford nice dresses and things like that. So I went to the dollar store and got like fake rhinestones and spent like 3 weeks before rhinestoning. Rhinestones all over a dress, trying to make it look fabulous. It was the wrong length. It was bad. It was looking back now. I thought I looked great, I'm sure, but
was that the time? Oh, because there was one year when, like, talking about Kris-mas, you had a fire in your apartment, didn't you? And it burnt all your drag stuff.
I did. Christmas Day of 2001. My apartment, I was in Boardwalk Center, which is where Jasper keeps going just before 82nd Street, those two red.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was living there originally with my mom. And Christmas Day, I was out at my aunt's in Leduc for Christmas dinner, and I got a phone call from the guy who lived across the hall saying, "You might want to come home. Your apartment's on fire."
Oh my God!
Gutted. It was absolutely gutted. All my drag got burnt. All the living room furniture got burnt. That was a fun ordeal to go through.
Wow.
I remember going to the casino saying, "I'm not," and I was supposed to work Boxing Day. I was like, I'm not coming in. My house just burnt down. I guess I'm gonna not come in today. So, yeah,
I remember. Sorry.
No.
When you mentioned we had a party in my old house and we invited people over, at one point we had a blackjack table and Nathan did a snow angel outside in the snow. Yeah. And my mother-in-law dared me to do it. And obviously everyone was drinking. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. They're like, oh, I dare you. So I ended up running outside in my nothing on and my drunk, obviously. I went outside, took all my clothes off, and it was like minus 25, minus 30, whatever. And I stood out there and I was like, okay, I'll do this. And then I looked back and everyone had run back in and closed the door and locked me out.
I think that was your mother-in-law's idea.
Yeah, in my drunken stupor, I was like, instead of running like around the one house to get in my front door, I run down the lane and then come out the other end, like an entire block, and then I'm running up the streets, and it was so cold, any modesty had gone. And I remember this cars coming, and I was just like,
It was a Hawaiian themed party. I remember everyone in like all the different Hawaiian shirts.
Oh, yeah, and I was
coconut bra on at one point.
I've never been that cold in my entire life. And somehow I came in, and I think somebody left my clothes on the front door, so I got dressed and went in. And every day then I would leave. Every time I'd leave to go to work, I saw like Nathan's ass print in the snow in front of my house. And I was like, I remember that, and I'd be like, oh man, I was so cold that night. I was so cold.
I remember that distinctly. Your mother-in-law worked with my mom, so I remember her back when I was a kid too. And she's a troublemaker.
Yeah, she liked to party late. She's only small, but man, she likes to have fun.
Yeah.
That was a good night. I've got a picture from that night. And speaking of Darren, I got a picture of Darren. I'm sure he was the drunkest man in the world on that night. Really good. I'll try to find it for you guys.
Yeah, you asked if I had any pictures. I can't find a single picture to save my life.
I got a few. Jay's got a lot.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to find. Oh, yeah. We got a bunch. Most of my photos though were like after the ships in Grand Prairie when they came back, and then we started, going pretty hard on taking photos. And I don't know. There's a ton.
Yeah, I feel like a bit of a fool because I remember everyone had external hard drives on the cruise ships, and I bought my external hard drive, had all this other stuff, but it had a certain connector that went to my laptop, and not all laptops had this connector, which I didn't know. So I was fine for this one. Then I bought a new laptop. It didn't work with it. I got kind of in a moment of pissed off, and I chucked out the external hard drive, and there was all of my pictures from 5 years of cruise ships that I just wrote. I didn't even think about it. And I was thinking when you messaged me saying, hey, do you have any photos or anything, bring them along with, I was like, oh, that was really stupid.
Oh, man. But in all honesty, it's probably a saving grace because a lot of those pictures, I'm sure, like yours and mine or whatever, we probably wouldn't want to be public.
No, yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that no one needs to be seeing anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, go ahead.
Sonia? What's the other thing?
Yeah.
We have the same birthday. That's right. Your birthday's next.
Yeah.
We have the exact same birthday. Are you turning 40 as well? Or are you? She's younger than me, isn't she? I think
she's like 30.
Yeah, she's a baby.
I think with Selena, well, I don't know. Yeah, I worked with Selena when, well, we might be the same age because we were at Reds together before the casino. So Mallrats. Selena knows. I know I'm older than you. I'm in my 40s.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my baby in here? Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think so.
You're the baby.
Oh, wow.
You don't even need to ask me. I will end up. I am by far the oldest.
Hi, John.
Yeah. Speak up, I can't hear you. I gotta hear me.
John's like watching this on like this massive 70-inch TV.
Exactly.
With his readers on still.
Yeah, I've got to wear reading glasses now, otherwise I can't see shit.
It was kidding.
Sonia. Oh my God.
Oh, jeez.
Hello.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Hi,
So
Sonia.
awesome. So awesome to see you. So really, really cool. I think this is the first time that we've got your message up here. So welcome. Thanks for joining our live stream and listening to John, Mike, and Chris.
It's old school right now.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Ooh. And I'm seeing people come on. I see you guys. I have my phone here. It's a really cool phone. And I'm seeing you guys. So just say hi. And hey, you know what? It's 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, let's do our roulette battle because there's a lot of you guys up there that know roulette. So let's give away a $25 gift card.
Don't make me do it. It was really bad that last week.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Randomly shouting numbers like.
I don't remember. I got it right though. There was no picture bets. It was simply going that plus that.
The calculator is like. Okay,
I was like, I know this is the picture bet, but I don't know it. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all
I think I tried to picture bet and take something off, and it just didn't work. I was like, oh, that went wrong.
I was all right as a roulette dealer. I will always remember Don DeRoche standing at the thing, and it was a big payout, and I told him, and he's like, "Yep, that's right. How'd you get it?" Went, what? And he's like, "Well, how'd you get it?" And I told him, he's like, "No, that's the wrong way. You should have done this way." And I'm like, "Did I give you the right answer?" Yeah, like, don't you worry how I damn well figured it out. He was always the one watching roulette. He was always fun. I think I was on the social committee for that holiday party. I asked. Oh, it was. I think it was your doing.
Yeah, I think it was. That was like so awesome. Yeah,
that was all Sonia.
I honestly think that was the only Christmas party that I went to for the casino ever for the casinos, except for on the cruise ships, because I was paid to go and do it. I refused to pay to go to a Christmas party. That was always my thing.
Yeah, I was the same way. I never went to in all like 19 years I was in casinos. I never went to a casino party if they told me I had to pay for it. I was like, not gonna go.
Absolutely not. No. Like on the cruise ships, we always we had some really wicked Christmas parties on the cruise ships. I remember they made me be Santa one year. I was like, I'm 100 pounds. Like, how am I Santa? They're like, yeah, that's perfect. And that day, because I don't go in the sun because I burn too easily. And that day I burnt to a damn crisp and had everyone sitting on me all night long and that itchy, cheap ass Santa suit. And I was just in pain the entire time that there was one of the larger ships. So I think there was probably like 40, 50 staff in the casino who everyone had to come sit on my lap, come get their present. And it hurt so much.
One time
being a Santa right now.
We were on the Rhapsody, and my wife and I had the night off for the Christmas party.
Sorry.
So yeah, we went out and we partied like crazy, got really, really drunk, and my wife, we knew this kind of like the youth counselors really well, and they're like, "Hey, we've got this Santa's elf costume. Do you want to wear it?" So we're like, sure. So it was like literally like green tights and this little uniform thing and a hat. And so Rhonda and I wore it and we went to the casino party and it got covered in booze and we were sat on people's laps and doing moonies. And they had to wake us up. The youth counselors had to wake us up at like 7 o'clock the next morning to get the uniform back for the Christmas party for the kids, and it's just stunk of alcohol and cigarettes. And there was like holes in the tights because I was too drunk to take them off properly, so I just kind of ripped the hole. It was like, you shouldn't wear this, kids. It was like Bad Santa.
I honestly think it was on the Rhapsody, that ship that I was doing the Santa thing. So I was brought to the Rhapsody by a casino manager, Paul Grugel, I want to say, British guy. He was a slot manager.
I work with Paul Grugel.
And he brought me on there because we had an Atlantis cruise coming. And so he specifically asked for me to come and sent me messages like, bring all your drag. We're having a gay cruise. So of course I just packed everything up, shipped it to Vancouver. A friend of mine met me there who I shipped it to. She brought it to the cruise ship for me and all these like 4 Apple boxes. And I was the casino hostess for the entire weekend, for the entire week. I was in drag for 8 days straight. I was in so much pain. I got away with everything, which was great. I remember that was the first time dealing craps in full drag, which I got away with all of my really gay calls, which was fun then. And my favorite one ever was Peter Grugel got a phone call from the head of security saying, your casino dealer is up on the top deck kissing boys right now. Because, of course, you're not allowed to fraternize with guests. Mm-hmm. He's up there kissing boys right now. And so Peter's like, oh, shit, I told him. I knew he was going to get in trouble. It's a gay cruise. He's single. And he comes up and I'm in drag and I'm like, hello, darling. Oh, hello, darling. He's like, don't ever call me again. He told him, leave him alone. His name. Don't ever make that phone call again. He's just fine.
Yeah, I worked with Peter Grugel. He was a cool guy. He was a slot manager when I was working with him.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. He's off the show. He's on my Facebook. I still see him post every once in a while. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Although I remember him sitting box on craps always, and he did not really know the game. Like he came from being a slot manager. He knew the basis of the game. But I'd be watching, because that was back, I was pit managing or whatever, floor sipping there. And I was in the other pit and he was watching craps and he couldn't make the call. So he called me and he's like, can you come over here and make a call for us? Something went wrong. And so I went over and I got it all figured out. And then after on the break, me and him kind of went for a sit down. And I'm like, don't sit box ever again. If you're going to come from another pit to come and fix your mistake, you can't make that call right then and there. Don't sit in that chair. Just do me that favor. I think that was my problem. I had no problem yelling at a manager, telling them that I thought they were wrong.
Okay. Well, hey, look, it's 9. Holy cow, Chris! It's been an hour already.
Really?
It's 9 o'clock. Yeah, 1 hour. Look at that. Let's get this comment and then look. Oh, hey, Joho. Oh, you guys can see who's jumping on there, hey?
How do you see this?
I can't see.
Well, it's on Facebook. You'll see, like, if you're in one of the. So there's the 2 feeds. So there's my feed. There's the. I see Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Welcome. So I can see a whole bunch of people on. You can go on the Casino Industry Canada and just jump on the chat as well. So all of the chat, like, I know only John really sees it, but all of the chat is actually from all 3. Not everyone can see everyone's chat. So then, like, we post it up like this, and you can see, like, people talking. So,
hey, Gordon.
Yeah, and you can reply too while you're on Facebook. See, so I was kind of replying in the middle of this as well. Okay, before we move on, there's a bunch of you on. Awesome. So let us do our roulette battle. Before we go and do the roulette battle, I just want to make an announcement. We have a guest next week, but in 2 weeks, we're going to do our Talking Craps 20th episode Christmas giveaway special. That's going to be pretty cool. We have a lot of sponsors that have actually given us some gifts and whatnot to hand out. So I think our top prize is $100. I think we're over $200 in giveaways, so that's going to be really good. And as well as that, just a few weeks ago, we had Shauna on. So available on Amazon, you can actually order her book, Shauna, thanks for being on for that episode. And for the Christmas special, we're also going to give away this nice encaustic painting, which I still have to pick up. So.
Look at this.
We need some foil.
That's what you're making.
Stricken out some foil, putting it on a pan. That's what I see. Okay, guys, let's mute Chris so that he can finish making his drink. And let's do the roulette battle. Okay, here we go. Good luck. First person to answer correctly wins the $25 gift card. Nice one, John. 8. Were you answering, John? What is this? What's this?
8.
Sorry guys, my favorite person that participates in this is Joe, because he just puts the number and he's always the first person on. And I think he's only been right once. This is our 10th one, and he's been right once. And he knows too. So it's like, I think he's doing this on purpose. I'm telling John, it's like, I think he's just doing that because he wants to give it away to somebody. So
Exactly, he's generous.
What was the answer?
Lou. Oh, it's not that.
Was it like 7 something?
Oh, it's not that. See? Sorry, Joe. John already beat you with the first answer, which is incorrect.
8.
Bang. There we go. Look at that. Someone gets to spend $25 tonight. Amazing.
Congrats, Selena.
Congrats, gorgeous. You beat me. I still haven't figured it out.
I was close.
8.
Oh, look. You
There's an
even, yeah, you even added another answer too, which is incorrect. So I don't know if I should give it to you.
Yes, they'd be like, okay, you were right and wrong. They cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John's answer of 8 wins.
Because when you put 2 answers, like, yeah, whichever one is the furthest one away.
Yeah, we have to average Selena's answers to see come to close.
Yeah, exactly. You put in 2, it's the average of it. See? Now you have to start over. Hey, I used my my new phone that my wife gave me. This, I don't know, it's double digits now. I moved from an 8 to whatever this new one is, 12 Pro X Super Mega, whatever it is. This thing does not fit in your pocket. It's like an unsightly bulge when you're walking around. But
Look at Chris.
man,
Should have been was like,
I thought I was on mute then.
Anyways, congratulations, Selena. Yes, you win the gift card. And
You can buy me a birthday present now.
exactly.
To share on your birthday.
Hey, Wyatt. Look who jumped on at 9 o'clock. Did you get my present yet? Yeah, no, I don't know. We already have you donating, so Wyatt is actually the one that provided the top prize so far. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thanks, Wyatt.
thanks, Wyatt.
yeah. All right, hey, Mike. What are your memories of Chris?
Oh,
Because you were there the whole time too. So
Yeah. Kris was awesome, and it was awesome being on dice with him. It was really fun. But I think the best story I have with Kris, and it's Chris's doing, involved a going away party for Leland, and we were at a bar downtown. Kris, do you remember the bar? Joey's? Were we at Joey's?
Oh God, I can remember what it looked like.
It was something like that, right?
Yeah.
Can't remember, but it was early in the night, and we were drinking a little bit. But Kris came up to Jeremy and myself and said, "Hey, it's amateur strip night at Buddy's. You guys should go and enter." Jeremy and I look at him and I'm like, "No, we're staying there drinking. That's okay." So we drank a little more. Kris came up again and said, "Hey, again, it's amateur strip night at Buddy's. You guys should go. You guys should enter. You win money and drinks." We're like, no. A few drinks later, Kris comes up again, and we both said no again. And Jeremy looks and goes, "See, besides, I'd win." And I turned to him, "What makes you think you would win?" So we get into a little bit of argument. Next thing you know, we're backstage at Buddy's. In robes, and I remember somebody bringing us a shitload of tequila back there. That was the only way I was getting on stage. But yeah, sure enough, we entered the amateur strip club contest at Buddy's.
I distinctly, and I think her entire farewell party just moved across. It was
I looked out. And I was in, and I remember, nobody told me that I had to stand in this little kiddie pool and everybody's going to have like water guns and.
Oh, that's what it was, wet underwear on amateur strip. It was wet underwear. So
it was wet underwear. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So I'm getting soaked with just sprays of everything. And I remember just the whole crowd of the party just in front of the stage and everything. And I am blitzed out of my mind. I get back there, and Jeremy ended up winning the competition. I think partly because he took his underwear off. So, anyways, he finishes first, I finished second, or something like that. I can't remember. And we get a whole bunch of Buddy's bucks to spend at the bar, and I'm already whatever. We ended up drinking at the bar until I have no idea how long.
Yeah, I think you probably won like 100 Buddy's bucks to spend back at the bar.
Something like that, yeah.
That was a good night. That was a very good night.
That was really fun.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, because actually one of the things was they had people who had water guns, and they sit on the stage around you, and the first person to empty their water gun also won a prize. So I remember, I can't remember which one of you guys I sprayed, but I know I was part of spraying one of you.
Oh yeah, yep.
That was a great night. Thanks for reminding me of that. I totally forgot about that night.
I did not. It's hazy, but yeah, I remember.
Well, it's the disappointment of not winning, right, Mike? I think that.
Yeah.
That kind of
Sorry.
It was. It hurt a little bit actually.
Yeah.
Did you
look
like that at the time, Mike?
No, I only had my underwear on.
Yeah, he didn't get to have a bra on.
God, I think that was at your place, wasn't it?
Don't ask me why you were wearing that. You just wanted to.
I think Jeremy had something to do with that too.
And I was the weird one because I did drag, hey? Yeah.
You
Oh my
still
God,
look better in drag, for sure.
Oh wow.
There's I haven't seen in forever, Sam.
Yeah. There's a lot of people here. Hi, look at that. Hey, Mahal.
Oh my God.
You got a lot of fans there, Kris.
Talia.
That turns out to watch the gay chat, hey?
Exactly, yeah.
On the View,
They've all come out to see Mr. Sister.
right? I wish I could say I was the only gay one in the casino, but I definitely was not. There was plenty of us working at the Palace at that time. I know. Now you're like, who was who?
No. Like when I started in casinos I was training when I was 17 and I started when I was 18. And I always found, to be honest, like casinos were pretty liberal. I mean, they didn't seem to, about all the places I've worked in different places, they never seemed to be like, I never, to be honest, any saw like outward like prejudice towards people of, whatever. It was more, I kind of grew up with it, so by the time I met you, it was like, my God, I grew up with gay people.
Another one?
Yeah, exactly. They get everywhere. Why is he so funny? You know what I mean? So I always thought, I don't know. I mean, from your experience, what do you think?
Very, very, very liberal. I never think I had a single issue with anyone that I ever worked with. I had a couple issues with players, but that was you're gonna run into that anywhere you go. So, yeah. But yeah, like there was not a stitch of problem with anyone that I ever had in the casino. Like I loved it. It was a really welcoming group of people. That was one of the big things that I loved about it. So.
And in a certain way, don't you think it was kind of ahead of this game, right? I mean, like I started in '86, right? And it was kind of open and kind of like no one cared. It was like, as long as you were fun and nobody cared about, what your preference was, it didn't matter, right? So, I mean, even to to the 2000s, you see now, businesses are trying to be more like what casinos have been for the longest time, right?
Yeah, they realize that we have disposable income because we got no kids. So. Dinks, double income, no kids. So, but yeah, like I never. But I was also someone who really didn't hide it either. It was with me. It was that's me. Get used to it or go. So I mean, I never had a problem with that. But yeah, no one had an issue, especially in the staff. It was great.
Yeah, to be honest, I remember like on craft sometimes, we would try and bug you, like a dead game and it was, like we're trying to rib each other and bug each other, whatever. And then you would just get kind of like gross us out to have you like, you kind of go, oh, and start talking about like some kind of like story. And all of us would be like, okay, all right, okay. You win, Chris, you win. You'll stop.
Oh yeah. A few of my favorite memories of crafts was one of the things of, be like, ooh, hot. And every man's, because it was an all-man crew at one point, everyone would look at me like, oh, Chris. And then one of my favorites, I think it was Lars or Arden who said it. Because I used to always help out the boys, you short stick. Mm-hmm. So the girl would lean over, show a little bit of cleavage. And every one of them were like, we really appreciate you short sticking for us. We know how much you care. I'm so sorry that we can't short stick enough so the guy's balls fall on the table for you. I know you care. I appreciate that. Oh, I miss you too, Sammy. Oh my God. Yes, they were all.
Were we? Yeah, because we're.
There was a pause. There was a pause.
There was more than you think there were. There was a lot of them who were not out like me. Let's say that.
Well, to be honest, there were a few people in there like you, whether if they were gay or not.
Yeah, that's true. There were definitely a few like, but yeah, that was one of the things. It was a non-issue right from day one. It was never talked about. I'm sure I made some people feel uncomfortable with some of the things I said sometimes, but in the end, it was like in pure fun, in pure joy.
I don't think the young, like we were young back then, so like,
oh my God, yeah,
just normal. But maybe like the older staff were like, oh my God, right? But for us, it was like, I think the only thing that I ever like, for me, the only thing I ever got in trouble for was like having blonde hair. Of all the things, right? Like. My hair when I had it was blonde, and it's like I had managed to say you can't have that. I'm like, why? Like, look at this guy's arm; it's all tattoos, and I can't have like. And it wasn't even like all blonde; it was like highlights, and I was like, okay, wow, okay.
Yeah, I got in trouble for having highlights one time. They're like, you need natural hair, and I was like, she is not a redhead. Let me make it over there. You're not a blonde, sweetheart. Like, you want to talk natural hair colors? But yeah, I remember getting in trouble for that. That was the thing back then.
Ugh.
Your
I was
button, button always had to be done up.
Yeah.
That was the one that we always got in trouble for.
Yeah. For me, I was like, can't you just let me enjoy it while I still have it? Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
Now I'm dyeing my beard instead.
Oh,
It was very gray this morning.
Is that well, no, it's not. I guess it's December now. I was just wondering if that was a November thing or if that's something that you're gonna keep like.
Yeah, this is all every day now.
No.
I have like 14 chins under here and it hides it also. I only ever shave if I do drag, and the last time I did drag was March. So I maybe do it once, maybe twice a year. So that's the only time I'm clean shaven.
Okay, were you doing like one-off shows, or do you like still? I don't know. Is it like a circuit? Like I don't DJ anymore, so like I was doing one-offs, but I haven't like been in a club or anything like that. Is there like where you're working? Do they actually have like consistent employment, or are you just doing this as like favors or references and things like that?
Drag now is like it's a full one-off. It's people from the past who see me before who are like, we're doing a birthday party. Can you come and entertain? And I go, yeah, it's expensive though, because I'm not getting into that for free anymore or cheap.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth my time. It hurts. I have to wear corsets. Things have to be hidden. I have to say, like nothing is comfortable about it anymore. I can't wear. I actually have a pair of Croc high heels. I didn't know they made high heels.
Wow.
They are so comfortable, and everyone makes fun of me in them, but I love them.
does this mean at some point you're going to have like Velcro high heels? Like when the senior drag queens probably have.
I may already have, John. I don't even care anymore. I'm like, stop looking at my feet. I spent 4 hours painting this. Why are you looking at my feet? A friend spent 3 weeks beating this dress for you. Like, just don't look at my feet.
I remember when we used to work in the Palace, and you come in and you'd you tell stories about what you did on your day off, and you'd be like, me and the girls, we did a drag night. I'm like, what did you do? It's we started drinking. It was like 5 hours before you were supposed to kind of like perform, like getting ready. Like you drank. I was like, what? You drank all that before you'd even left the apartment? I was like, man, you guys, how would you even stand at the end of all that?
You had to prep yourself. You had to get into the character of Crystal Ball. And she was a bitch.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a great part of my life, and that was actually one of the things that I really enjoyed about at the casino. My mom was right, was that they would allow me to work schedules around, because we did shows pretty much every Sunday night. That was for sure back then. And then there was lots of times we did Saturday night shows, and at one point I started hosting a Thursday night show. So I would just go in the office and go, hey, starting this time, can I just no longer work Thursday nights? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. Now you're on Friday night. Here you go. Or because I worked mostly days, I would work noon to 7. That was enough time for me to get home, shower, shave, and start getting ready and be out for a show for midnight. And then be back the next day. And then many times I love that 2 o'clock start on the craps table. So, because I would be out doing a show the night before, and I would sleep in and make my way in for the 2 o'clock start, which also always got last break. So you'd start 2 hours later than everyone else, and you got to leave 20 minutes earlier. It's just the way that this worked out. It was great.
Yeah, because we used to open up the other side at 2 o'clock, right? Wouldn't it?
Sorry?
We used to open up the other side.
Yeah, we'd only do one-sided for at noon. And then at 2 o'clock, I think, we'd open up both sides. Because we had a busy game during the day. Bob was in there every single day. He came to play as I was about to try to see if I could remember his action, but I can't.
All the Bobs. Darren.
Yeah, it was a good group. At the Palace. I loved it. And then when I came back and was at Century, it was a very different craft show, because Palace, everyone was trained by yourself, or I think Darren taught a course maybe. Sean did. But then when I went to Century, everyone had learned from, and his name is now escaping, from ABS. Everyone got trained from him.
Jim?
Jim, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did things exactly the opposite of the way that Jim did things. And so everyone's like, you're doing that wrong. And that was just one of the things that was fun to come back to.
I did a table test for Jim at I've said this before, in Yellowhead when it was being under construction, and I came here. It was 98, I think it was. Oh no, yeah, it might have been it's around about there anyway. But it was under construction, and I went in and did a table test. Rhonda knew one of the pit managers there. I can't remember his name now. And then he said, "Okay, yeah, come and do a table test." And I went and did a table test, and it was like to Jimmy, and there was like maybe 3 or 4 other players, people I can't remember who they, but it was all 3 or 4. So I dealt to them, and as I'm dealing, I looked and I was like, the other side got 4. There must have been about 5 or 6 other people. I'm like, this is weird, and I'm dealing away, and it's all whatever. And then when I left, Bob. His name was Bob, the one that my wife knew. He came up to me and he's like, "Oh yeah, you did really good. That was awesome." And he was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah, Jimmy didn't have a clue what you were doing." I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." I was just dealing. He just did whatever, and we all did whatever, and I just helped. And when that was the only time I ever had a table test and didn't get the job. He didn't hire me.
He insisted not.
Yeah, he didn't hire me, so it's funny.
Yeah, because the way that you did was very, very different from the way that he trained people. And I learned from you, and I got better learning from people on the cruise ships, and his was a very different style. And not saying it's a wrong style, it was just that was his style. And a lot of people that worked at the Century, that was all they knew. Oh, is that my thing is? That's all I get to see is one eye.
That's it. That's all she's going to do.
One eye Rhonda.
She said she was going to join to have a look, to see you, Chris, because we haven't seen each other for a long time.
No, we had lunch, maybe 4 years ago, 3? I don't even know.
No, I met you downtown that one time. That was probably no, that wasn't 4 years ago. It was a year ago, 2 years. Must have been about 2 years ago. I think it was the last time I saw you. And that's when I asked you, and I made fun of you, and I said, now you're old, do you go antiquing with, I think it was your boyfriend then. I don't think you were engaged. And I'm like, oh, do you go antiquing now? And you were like, yes.
Yeah. I went on after the first year that we started dating. We went on a road trip down to the States because he did his master's in Moscow, Idaho. And so we went back to go visit some of his friends and everything. And we went over to Washington Coast to go camping. And we're like, okay, great. They're all like, we're going to get some beer. We're going to get all of our chips and everything. And me and Graham were like, yeah, we'll meet you at the campsite because we saw a couple really great antique shops on the way that we wanted to check. And they all paused because the last time they'd ever seen him, he was straight. And they're like, is this really what the gays do? You go antiquing? I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. And we brought home a chair. That's upstairs. You can't sit in it. Because it's high humidity over there, and it's this gorgeous wicker chair. But we brought it back here to dry Alberta, and the wicker was so old that if you were to sit in it, you would just go straight through it. So now it's just a decorative piece in the middle of our bedroom.
You have a chair that you're not allowed to sit in.
We've been meaning to refinish it. It's just not. Who cares? It's in the bedroom. It holds pants at this point.
Is it kind of like one of those exercise machines that you have? And you're like, oh, at some point we're going to use that, and now it just really just holds old clothes and just hide it with stuff.
Yeah, we don't got no exercise stuff in here, as you can see. Gays go to the gym.
Yeah.
My husband goes to the fiance. He's not my husband.
So when are you going to make an honest woman of him?
We were scheduled. The date was booked for June of next year. But since all this happened, I was like, I'm not planning a party for 160 and then being told I can't.
Yeah, that would suck.
So I'm like, what does it matter if it's one more year? So now we've moved it to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to get married in Edmonton, or are you going to go somewhere? Or
we're going to get married here. I hate destination weddings. I think they're just silly. That's just me personally. Unless most people, I hate how they do destination weddings because they've never been there. They're having a wedding there. I'm like, you've never experienced this place. Why are you going to share your your biggest day somewhere you've never been. I just like the idea of having it here. Everyone gets to come visit, and then they can all go.
Another test. I was on one ship, and they had, remember, it used to be a popular thing. They'd have like weddings on cruise ships, right?
Oh yeah.
And I was on one, and I can't remember, I think it was the Monaco, one of that Monaco actually. And the first port day was Jamaica, and the groom and the best man got into a jet ski accident, and the best man killed the groom. Like he hit him and he died, and they had to spend the rest of it was like, it was terrible, it was awful. Yeah, so the rest of that cruise, they were all on the ship, and the poor guy had died, and they had to finish the rest of the cruise. Yeah, it was, sorry to drag it on, that was an awful thing. Sorry to remember.
Wow.
You just brought it up. I was like, oh shit, that was terrible. Oh man, it was really bad.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I got onto the one ship about a month after, and there was a whole bunch of investigations still happening when I was there with the one guy that fell off the cruise ship. His wife, they figure, pushed him off.
That's insane.
He was also dating a casino dealer on the cruise ship.
Oh.
Well, yeah. He was a Canadian guy too.
But it's amazing how many like strange things that happen on you. Like, oh my God, that's, like it's not public knowledge. I think things, I mean, like, I remember one guy, he was huge. He was like a big, he must have been about, in all honesty, probably 600 pounds at least. And he came on the first night, and he had a wheelchair, whatever. And he passed away during the cruise. And his wife asked for an upgrade, because they had to, they paid for 2 people. They had to put him in and she was deadly serious. He was like, oh, I paid for 2 people and he's passed away. I want a better cabin and an upgrade. And we're like, well, what do you mean? Yeah, so
the cruiser's mentality was something that always shocked me, because when I became management on there, you got to see the online portal thing. So you'd see some of the calls on the front desk, and one of them was, a woman came down to the front desk just livid because she paid for a ocean view cabin, and all I can see is a parkade right now. And they told her, we're docked. We have people get a parkade at the pier. Yeah, she was livid, and I wanted ocean view, and I just love hearing things about that. My favorite memory ever was actually just after that gay cruise. We did a 14-day Hawaii trip. Then we did the gay cruise down to Mexico, and then we were going back to a 14-day Hawaiian trip. And the thing about 14-day cruises is they're old people, because they're the only people that have 14 days off to go on a cruise and just look at the ocean for 5 days, both ways. And my favorite moment was seeing in that thing was, I guess an old couple came down. It was a cruise after the gay cruise, and they had a towel with them with something clearly wrapped inside of it. And they brought it to the front desk, and we're like, I think the people in our room before us left this, and they might want it back. And it was a big old dildo. And they weren't upset about it. They didn't ask for an upgrade. They were like, can you get that back to them? I think they might want it. I understand.
Oh my God.
Oh, the poor couple. Most people like freaking out and saying, I need to own this ship now because of that.
Did they leave a forwarding address?
Sorry?
Yeah, it'd be like, did they leave a forwarding address? We could just ride it right on here.
Exactly, right? More.
Sorry, Mike, I know you got to go. This guy is really busy. He's working in the hospital. So, Mike, thanks for everything that you're doing. You're essential. You're one of the quarterbacks there. I just want to give you a nice shout out there.
Oh, thanks. I'm blushing now.
I know. Well, I know you got to work super early tomorrow. So. Can you? Sorry, this shirt was for you and Esther. Can you just tell me who the better Avenger is, if it's Captain America or Iron Man? Could you guys just discuss that amongst yourselves?
It is Iron Man still. Your shirt's wrong.
Is it wrong? I don't know.
Wrong.
It says team captains. Anyways, maybe just talk with Esther about that and see who's right.
I will. I mean,
Sure.
let her know. We will see. Thanks,
So-
Wyatt. Okay,
Yeah, Mike,
guys.
as always, great seeing you.
Good seeing you guys. Chris, it's been way too long. So when, like I said, when all this crap ends,
I can't wait.
drinks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to do another reunion because I mean 3 years was a long time, so we all deserve it, and all the people that just to catch up again, it'll be so much fun. I mean, it was so much fun last time. I can't believe we wait 3 years and we haven't done it since. I mean,
Yeah, and I also had to leave early because I had an appointment I had to get to, which pissed me off. So this year it'll be one of those things of going, yep, no, I'm not working that night. No one's going to look at a house that night.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope this summer we can do something.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
No stripping. Okay.
No,
I'm gonna say that right now.
those
Okay.
days are past us. They're behind us.
but Mikey, you've got previous experience. You'd be like, hey, you might still have to.
Okay, we'll see how much I have to drink. I guess it's
Yeah. You were like,
I
I've got
can get a kiddie pool in
$45.
here.
it's different now. There's a beer belly and everything. It's
Just turn around and face up front. Don't worry.
All right, guys. Good chatting with you.
As well,
Again,
thank you.
Chris.
Right.
Good
Appreciate
seeing
it.
you.
Mikey.
All right. Take care,
Thanks
guys.
for watching too, buddy.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
There we go.
Oh, the crap sleigh behind us.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that before.
Yeah. Well, too many big heads are in the way. So, yeah, there's actually, well, I guess you can't really arrange it, but no. Yeah. I worked really hard on that.
Is it ready for talking craps later? Is that?
No, that's just the background. I tried to make it more like Christmassy, but I guess it's only if there's like two of us on. So
In all honesty, all the like the cool things that happen on this kind of like chat that we have every week, it's all Jay. I'm only on really for some kind of like semi-comic relief and some old stories and to drag the average age up. Really, that's
You're
my
not
idea.
filler. You're not filler. Don't worry.
no, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like one of those seat fillers you see at the award shows who just sit there and just while Jay's off doing something. I'm like,
Pipe in every once in a while. I'll have something funny to say.
yeah. But honestly, though, I've been saying for a while, like we had to have you on just because one, you're awesome, and I hadn't seen you for a long time, and just to catch up to see what you're doing. And
This is great. Like I started watching it last week, and this is just hilarious. It kind of is like down memory lane. I love it.
And to be honest, it's especially now, and one thing we need to shout out, we just found out about the casinos closing, and it's going to be so difficult for a lot of the people that we used to work with, and again for another 4 weeks they can't close, and they can't work, and the other slum. I mean, this is a really difficult time for a lot of the people that we used to work with and we know and like. So hopefully this is some way that we can kind of like take the mind off this terrible
Exactly.
situation we're in right now and catch up and kind of like have a few laughs. I mean,
Did you ever go back and play during the period between when the tables were open?
yeah, I went and volunteered. I volunteered for my son's boxing, and it was a nightmare, to be honest. I went back and they shut down Alberta Game and trying to obviously do what they can as best they can, and they had like 3 volunteers. So it was like, there's only 3 volunteers. I didn't realize we had to stay till 4 o'clock in the morning. So I got it at like 5:45 until 4, and I was just exhausted. I was like, oh my God, I can't stay up this late anymore. But the whole gaming thing, I mean, it was at Century Casino.
Oh yeah.
And one of the kind of fun things was I went there, and there was some of the people that were working were like, hey, we watch you and I watch you and Jay on the your chat thing every week, and it's kind of fun to see everybody and to catch up with certain things. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm glad
I'm glad people are watching. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I did the volunteer over at Palace, and it was their second day, or third day actually. Sorry, we were the second charity since they opened, because they were a lot later to open up their tables than all the rest of the casinos. And it was one of those funny things. I was in the count room. He's like, "This is going to be a very quick night. I think they've opened 5 tables the entire evening, so there's not going to be a whole lot." And it was box 1 empty, box 2 empty. But it was crazy seeing all of the plexiglass everywhere, and But I went and played a couple nights before, just to see how they were doing it. And it was hilarious because I was playing blackjack, and the one dealer, and I wish I knew her name, she was fantastic. She just kept having a laugh at every like 5 minutes. She's like, hand sanitizer break. Everyone stick your hands through the little portal. And like she was having a riot with it because I think she was just happy to be back working. And you could feel it.
That's so cool. I mean, at least, I mean, I think one of the best things about like working in casinos, because you meet somebody, like a lot of people have like dark sense of humor. Do you know what I mean? Even at this time where you like, you say they're dealing it and they're like, hey, hands on it.
He was hilarious. Now, maybe she's doing it because she's terrified of this virus and can't believe that she has to stand there and deal. And so she's making sure everyone's clean, or she's just having a good time with it. You got to do it how you do.
No, that's really cool. And I think, it's sad that, the casinos people that we work with have to go through it again, but hopefully, there's government programs that can help them, but it's kind of sucks, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be put in.
But yeah, hopefully the 4 weeks go fast.
Yeah.
See you, Wyatt.
See you, buddy.
Sure.
Wyatt is he's our guest next week. So guys, if you want to tune in, we'll have Wyatt on as the guest. Maybe another person as well. So
yeah, we need to. Yes.
I love Sam.
Yeah, I love Sammy too. She's awesome, but she's making fun of me because I just remember the groom got killed by the best man, and she's like, "Great chair, John. Yeah, way to go."
Stories are always good for me, John. Don't worry. Doesn't matter what they're about.
We need to get Sammy on. We need to be honest. We need someone on with hair because Wyatt next week, he's another guy with no hair. So.
I mean, I can go put a wig on if you want.
Yeah, I mean, hang on a minute. We need to.
I would watch Sam. I would sit down, and I haven't seen her in I don't know how long.
I need Sam to tell me about how to play Big Two, because that was remember Big Two?
Yes.
And the loser deals. Yeah, Sammy was like, "Oh yeah." She only told me like one rule every break, and they'd be like, "Oh, I lost again. You deal, John." I'm like, "What?" And so I dealt pretty much the entire day of Big Two, and then I just made it like I just bring it up all the time and embarrass her. And that was like 20 years later. I'm still hacking on. You didn't tell me all the rules of Big Two, and I kept losing.
I forgot. Like those were the things that happened in the break room during your breaks, and like that was the camaraderie. When I went back and like just as I kind of ended casinos, that wasn't happening anymore. Like it was simply everyone just kind of sat there. This was also, I think, one of the things that was the downfall of it on break.
Yeah.
Because everyone sat on this and stared at their phone and didn't talk to each other. Whereas when we did, it was still like I would pick up the little phone in the corner of the smoke room and dial my code so I could check my voicemail at home on my like rotary phone. So like these things have been the death of us. But that was something. There was this camaraderie during break of like playing cards together. That was something fun.
Oh, I remember
screen thing in the corner.
Yeah, we used to play Big Two and Crib and.
Oh yeah.
I remember we used to play chess as well. That was. It was I remember Nick. He's another ball guy.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know if it was true, but he told me, and if it might have been the best prank he's ever told me. But he told me once he previously worked in Chernobyl as a nuclear scientist. And I was like, "Oh, that works well on your resume," but but he might have been just like pulling my leg. I was like, "Oh, okay." But,
sure, your third eye is looking great.
Why'd you glow in the dark, Nick?
Well, hey, that's a great message, Selena. Definitely thankful, lasting reminders of the good old days. I mean, we're gonna have as many people as we can. I mean, this channel is not for us, it's for everybody, right? So we really want to kind of share these stories. That's the whole point of this channel, to not take anything to the grave, right? So anything that we've learned, we want to pass down to the new generation. Even just talking about this, like Kris, you mentioned like phones and stuff, and it's like, yeah, that kind of sucks, right? Like we really want, and we're not saying like it was better before or it's not, it's just a lot different. And I think just getting some more respect for our industry, I mean, that's kind of what I want to push for. So, and I really love like the connections here because it just kind of keeps us together as a good community. So like Selena, I love how you join and you participated in like all of the things that we try to do. You know, it's that kind of support that like makes me like and John like I don't know. That's what I love about this segment that we do. It's really awesome. So.
Well, it's odd. Like we're chatting to people who are no longer in the industry, even.
That's what I love. Yeah.
Like that's what I really enjoyed watching last week. Nicole, right? That was her name.
Danielle.
I'm so bad at names. God, I liked hearing that enthusiasm from like a young dealer and someone who's learned all games. It made me so happy because I remember being a young dealer and they're like, as soon as they put out Baccarat class, I went and learned Baccarat. As soon as they put out Roulette, I went and learned Roulette because I learned them in a very weird order. I learned Blackjack, then I learned Craps, and then I learned everything else. Whereas it was like one of these things because Craps was newer at that point. No one did it in that order. Yeah, like it's nice to see someone who's kind of excited about the industry and wanting to be better and wanting to learn all the games. I kind of love that because an all games dealer is money to the casino, and as long as the casino sees that dealer as money to them, because you can go open up any single table at any time. You can, if you got a player who wants to play a game, go open it, play it. It's a great thing to have.
Yeah, I thought Danielle was awesome last week. Like her enthusiasm, and I think she's only 22. I was like, wow, I can't believe that all these games at 22. And I was like, this is incredible. I didn't know all of them when I left 19 years after being in the business. Admittedly, I was kind of lazy, and I kind of found Craps, and I just didn't want to do anything else after that. But yeah, and I kind of like, in all honesty, I come on this every week, and it's a lot of it's like to catch up with new people, like you, Chris, and to hang out with Jay, and to share a few laughs and just take our mind off what's going on outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's another way. It's just that, like Jay made it perfect. It's now we're sadly a different generation from the dealers that deal now, right? And
yes.
If any of us can share some of our wisdom or some of the ideas or things that we did with newer people, because they never work with me and they may never have worked with you, and like you were incredible, you really were, and Jay's is incredible. I mean, and to share some of this expertise that we learned all over the place, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a way that we can continue, and because even though I'm not in casinos anymore, unlike the rest of us, I still want people to be good and adept at what we try to do, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things that has kind of lost, at least from my experience of going back to casinos, is entertainment. It is a form of entertainment to some people, and they want to be entertained. They want something for their money rather than just playing a game as well. That's part of it, and the chance and the excitement is something that they really love. But it's the fact that you as a dealer are an entertainer to them. You're there to give them a good time, and every player is going to be a different kind of good time too. Some players just want you to shut up and deal, and you'll know that, and you'll figure that out real fast. But other ones are loving the people who have fun with you. And maybe it's more that's from the cruise ships because people are on vacation and they just love that. But they want to get something for their money.
Oh, I totally agree. And I
entertain them.
And I think, and we've all spoken about this over the last, what are we on, 20 episodes now? It seems crazy, but it seems to, like, not just in Edmonton, but casinos all over the place, I've started to like lose the idea that this is an entertainment industry.
Yeah.
You go on there, that guy can, I mean, yes, you get hardened gamblers and all you want to do is gamble and they don't really care what you do. They just want the cards out of the shoe or the dice rolled or whatever. But there's a big portion of the gamblers who come in who just have a couple $100. They just want to have some fun. They don't care if they win or lose. They just want to have some fun. And it's part of their night. Like the ships, when we used to go on the ships, people go on a cruise, the casino is part of their vacation. It's not the reason they're there. So
it's secondary.
Right. So, and I think at some point, the casinos on land base have lost that idea, whereas like there's a big segment of these customers who just want to have fun and just want to be entertained and stuff. And the dealers need to do that, right? And if they can't, they will go somewhere else.
And to be honest, I mean, I was in Vegas back in January, and I got that feeling even there. The dealers just didn't really care. Mm-hmm. You put up a bet for them, and you're like, okay, I like, be part of the game with me. I want you to win and lose with me. Let's have some fun. And they're nothing. I was like, just bring it back into that. Like, that's one of the things that I think that is missing, is that it's a form of entertainment. Mm-hmm. So it should be entertaining.
Exactly. I totally agree. And like I've mentioned this before, I love craps and I love dealing, and in all honesty, I'd say 99% of the people I dealt with on craps, I really loved them, and I just thought they were the best people ever. But the best ones always were good on stick, because they understood how, like, you were great on the stick, right? You really were, and Jay was great. I mean, it's like to become, because people go there to be entertained for the most part, right? And how do you drum up the business? And it was, and people would walk over to the craps table when you were on the stick or Jay was on the stick, right? And they understood you're supposed to be entertaining and drive business to you by saying things and doing things and engaging with the players, right?
Yeah, Lars, he was a fun one to watch on stick.
Oh yeah,
he was a lot of fun, that one. Him, Aiden was. They were Aiden. Arden.
He's changed his name now.
Exactly. I just give him a new drag name. That was fun. It was entertaining to see, and like you said, people would come over and go, "What is this game? This looks like a riot." Because they're looking at the other tables where people are just, like it's boring. So that it got exciting. And the other fun part about craps too was, it was always a team idea. It was. Hi, honey. Craps was always like this team, and it was the fact of, like, in blackjack, you're the one dealing the cards. So the players, it was your fault. You spun the ball, it was your fault. On craps, buddy, you threw the dice. So it was we were all in this game together. As a crew, like if you made a wrong mistake on a payout, you had 3 other people to help you. Which was a funny one, actually, because, by the way, John, when I first started dealing craps, I learned this great little trick that if I was standing on craps that I didn't know the payout, I would just come up with a number somewhere in the ballpark of what it was, and you would automatically say the right number right after. And then I made the mistake of, we were out having a drink one night, and I told you that, and the next day we were dealing, and I was like, 45. You're like, no. You're like, you didn't get the answer. You're like, and you just looked at me, you're like, figure it out. You just ruined my little secret, because you knew that I knew what it was, but I didn't feel like figuring it out, so I just said 47. You're like 52. Oh right, oh right, yes. Oh, and I would do a whole act. Oh right, I forgot to carry the 2. Right, yeah, okay. But then I made the mistake of telling you, and telling you was the best thing I did, because it made me actually figure it out and be better. But I was getting real lazy there for a little moment.
No, it was, yeah, I mean.
Oh my God, right? Oh, Jesus. Hello, darling.
Yep. One more here. Yeah. Even though they run over. Yeah, okay.
Oh, was there I'm sorry. I'm just having martinis and chatting with friends.
Okay, Loretta, it's our fault. That,
I love her.
Loretta was awesome to have on too. She had some great stories. And it was great.
Oh,
yeah, we had Loretta on.
You started following this earlier. Jeez.
Actually, you can go back and they're all on Jay's YouTube channel. You can go and see it. And yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, what are we on, John? 18. This is our 18th episode, and we're usually averaging between 1.5 to 2 hours. So
yeah, we keep. To be honest, we're like, man, this will be like an hour. We thought this will be an hour. We'll talk to some cool, some friends that we haven't seen for a while and catch up. This will be fun. It's never been under an hour. It's always about at least 90 minutes to 2 hours, because as soon as we connect, we're like, oh my God, let's talk about all this and this. Like, you look at it now, it's almost 2 hours we've been chatting.
Well, I love you, when you message me, make any points of any stories you really want to talk about. I don't have a single note. I just was like, I know how it's going to be. We're just going to sit and chit chat. Graham even asked, he's like, how long is this going to be? I'm like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. It's old friends chatting. Like, I remember us on the craps table. We never ran out of anything to talk about.
Oh God. Like Arden's on. I remember Arden used to work at one point just the weekends, and he'd be dealing, and it'd be funny. Like, the game would be busy, and I'd be there, and he'd be dealing, and Arden is like, we all know, he's super clever, and he's really good, and he'd be dealing, and he goes, so what did you just cook last week? And he'd be talking like recipes, like food.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he'd be like, oh yeah, I cooked this great meal, and he'd be dealing away, and he'd come back up, and it was great, I'd be watching, and he'd be talking about what he cooked, and I mean, like, at the end, and like, oh, I'll see you next week, and we'll catch up on what we made.
But I swear to God, some of the guys that were our regulars during the week when we were working day shifts, I swear to God, some of them, it was their joy to just come and watch us talk about our day and what we did the last night. And it wasn't that we were ignoring them. I swear to God, they just enjoyed hearing about, oh, I did this drag show over in this place. Oh yeah, did you get drunk? Yeah, I did get drunk. Yeah, it was a great time. And we'd make fun of each other, and they just relved up, like they loved that.
I think, to be honest, like the game that we had and the way we run it and the way that we had the people there is they wanted to be involved in the game.
Yeah.
You know, like, so they come in the morning and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'll go there. I can hang out with, Chris, Jay, and John and whatever. And they kind of know us. We know them. We know what they drink. We used to buy them lots of alcohol, and we talk about, and we were, for the most part, we'd be like, hey, how's it going? We'd kind of be pleased to see them. Do you know what? I always used to say, our craps table was kind of like Cheers. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody used to know everybody, and everybody know your name, and you come in, you know what you play, and people used to come for that, right? That's what we offered. It was like, it was a comfortable place, and they would go and they play whatever, but they knew that, for the most part, if they weren't jerks, that they'd have a good time, and they would become involved in our game. Not, do you know what I mean? Like how we, like you're saying, right?
Sam, was his name Sammy? Really old guy. Like, he was so slow. He was an absolute hoot. You just basically told him, here, just give me $3. Okay, sure, whatever. Like he was an absolute riot. I swear to God, he just came to be part of something.
Yeah.
He was the best part of your day, seeing him come and open up a craps table.
Oh yeah, I used to love him. He used to be like a teacher at Nate when he was, and he used to come in, and he was awesome. I used to love him. He was so funny. And I remember he used to smoke a lot. With the ash would drop in the table, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, there's a cleanup after him." I can't remember the guy's name, but he had like this big place, and he used to drive hours, like an hour, to come to play craps. And he had this like trout farm, whatever it was, somewhere. And I remember when he was an old gentleman, he was really sweet guy. And he came in one time and he forgot his glasses. So he had to buy like dollar store reading glasses, and he put them on, and he couldn't figure out how much he was betting, because when he looked at the chips, it looked huge. So he was like, I have no idea how much I'm playing. All the chips look so big.
Was that Al? Might have been Al.
That might have been. Oh, Al was the big farmer. Remember the big farmer?
Oh my God, yes.
Remember Al? Oh, I have a funny story about Al. I remember Al. Remember Gumby?
Yes.
Gumby was at one end of the dice, and Gumby's huge, and then he was drunk, as he always was, but he was awesome. And he came in, and he came from the poker, and Al came in, and he had this. He must have recently just bought this really nice orange jacket.
No, I was on the table for this.
Remember that big orange jacket? And Gumby's throwing, so Al's at the other end. Gumby's got the dice, and he went to throw the dice, and he's like, "Tell that guy with the life jacket on to keep his hands out of the table." Al never wore the jacket again. He never wore it again, and you'd see he really liked it, but yeah, you never wore it again.
I remember John. Oh my God! To add, that same day, there was another guy that like started playing beside him, and it was like this younger kid, and he's just like, "Yeah, no, we're doing good. Pylon, give me 5." He just called him Pylon. Pylon. It's like you just. Yeah, and then he didn't wear that. I remember that. It was so funny.
That's what I mean. I loved Ali played over Creek. Okay, yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the big farmer, right? He was a really cool guy.
He had I remember someone dumped like a jug of water over the rail, and it landed just on him, and I was like, oh my God! And like he just like took it in stride like nothing. He's just like, I'm all right, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, I really liked that. He was a cool guy.
He was pretty awesome.
That's
Him and George.
Everyone just came to be part of the fun, and it was super fun. Like that's the thing I love about craps, is that it is like and I remember like you would try a new press. You practice this over on roulette with like the chips, and you weren't supposed to do that, but you would practice this, and all of a sudden you'd be like, I got this great one. Here you go, ready? And you'd screw it up, and the players would laugh at you too, because they knew you and they knew that you were trying to do something. Like that was kind of the fun camaraderie of back and forth. You'd say, did you want your bet that you have bet for every single roll for the past 50 rolls? No, I don't want it this time. That they would land, so you'd have to make fun of them. That was the way that it worked. Like they make fun of you because you screwed a press or you screwed a payout. That was how it was.
I think, to be honest, out of all the games, it's the most interactive, right? Between and we, like you said earlier, like we were never blamed if unless they hit you and they rolled a 7, but whatever. But I mean, like,
or you passed them out a 7, of course.
yeah, and all those weird wonky things. But I mean, for the most part, they would just blame somebody else and whatever. But it was more interactive, you know, like we would make fun of the players and the players would make fun of you if you did something stupid and you'd be like, and he would make fun of you. So, but you didn't get that kind of thing on, like, can you imagine doing that on like Baccarat? I mean, what's going on? You know what I mean?
You missed your panda bet or whatever it's called. I don't know. I've been out of it for too long.
It's, you know, like to your point, like to both of your points, I mean, like when we talk about when you're talking about the presses, I do remember just dealing and like, you know, we would try a press and then it didn't matter who was box, like if it was Sean or John or if it was Darren or Bubba, it was like, hey, yeah, you should try doing something like this. And like we were always like helping each other. And then like the next group of boxmen, because like there's another group after everyone kind of left and there's a turnover and everything, we tried to do the same thing. And that's what I really loved about like that casino when we first opened. It was just like trying to help us, like, hey, you know, you should have tried doing something like this. And it was just like a whole like group, like, you know, we were thinking like a whole group herd. It's like, oh, how can we like do this press? Then when someone did it, it's like, holy crap, look at that. Then everyone started doing it, right? So
absolutely. I remember one day that a player asked me to do some weird press, and I was like, ugh. And you're like, just keep this much chips and just figure it out. Mm-hmm. And because you were sitting box, John, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, got it, done, hand it out. And then you sat there for like the next hour with chips going, while the game was happening, you're like, I'm going to figure out some cool press for this. And I think it took you like a day and a half, but like the next year, like, remember that press we did? Yeah, here. If you try this, if you flip this chip around here, then flip this one over to this one, and then roll this one around along your line, and then put it, you're done. And I was like, I would never do that press again in my life, so I'm not going to learn that. But you loved trying to figure that stuff out. I love that.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, I think that was part of the challenge, right? Especially like new players, they would come up and they'd be go, and I think a lot of it as well, some of the players be like, I'm going to stump these dealers. And it was kind of like ready, and he'd be like, oh, it's a matter of, you know, us against them, and it was all just like a rivalry. I'm like, okay, are they going to try and stump us? Some of them would try and like cheat and be like, yeah, come on, dude. But you know, some of them was like, all right, let's just try and, oh, this is a weird press, and we're like, and then it became like a challenge, like, oh yeah, I'll figure you out. Yeah, and all of us would kind of like, you know, I saw that all the dealers too would be like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, you're doing this weird press, don't worry, I'll figure it out. You probably do this somewhere else and they figure it out, but I'll figure it out. Yeah. Don't worry.
It's making that player feel like he's really cool because he stumped you for a second, but you've got to, like when you went onto the cruise ships, it was like a badge of honor. When you got on the cruise ships, they're like, do you deal craps? I'm like, yeah, actually I do. I'm pretty good at it. Hey guys, yeah, I'm okay at it. And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll see. And then you get on and they go, oh, you are good. Okay. It was kind of this little like ego boost, but also then it kind of screwed you sometimes because if there was a busy craps game that week. I remember on my very first cruise ship, there was we had a Harris cruise. They sent all their high limit players, and a bunch of them were craps players, and the table was full and it was busy every single night. And there was 3 dealers that could handle the action on that entire ship, in the entire crew. And so there was one night when it was just simply a thing of going, sorry guys, you don't get breaks tonight. And the boxman he's like, if you need to pee, let me know. Otherwise, what we're going to do is you're going to do half an hour on stick, half an hour here, half an hour there, half an hour there. No break in between. And he's like, I'll only let you off the table if you need to pee. But I'm like, and I remember going, but I'm a smoker. and he just came over and he's like, here's an ashtray. And he's like, you want to smoke every 5 minutes? As long as you don't miss a beat while dealing, have a smoke. So I remember sitting there and right on the seat next to me, taking my cigarette, putting it down. And at one point, I have it hanging in my mouth, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever, okay." I was like, "Is this what like old Vegas feels like?" And then at one point, I remember his name was Oleg. He was an old Russian guy, big Russian guy, and he was hilarious. And at one point, he brought over a round of drinks for just the dealers. So of course, now I have my cigarette there. I've got my vodka Coke sitting over there, and the players are loving it. Like they knew that we weren't getting breaks, so they were right into the whole spirit of it. They were having a great time with it. And they really didn't care that I would take a quick second to not pay them to, you know, ash out my cigarette. But I think I smoked more during dealing that than I did if I went and just had a quick smoke. Because now I'm like, oh, I can smoke while I'm dealing. This is great.
He'd be like, hang on a minute. You know?
Yeah. Cruise ships got away with that. I mean, it was great.
I know, because like to be honest, most of the time the rules, they really made them up as they were going along, right? I mean, obviously not the odds and stuff like that, but shit like that. Well, okay, you can have a break. You just have to rotate through them all.
Yeah, like they didn't want us to get tired on stick was basically what it was. So it was, and I think it was probably about 4 hours of that. Like there was, because it was one of those things that it was such a big game, and everyone on the cruise ship, we had other people who could deal craps, but there was such a break between the people who could deal craps and the people who kind of could. You know, they were brand new, and it just would have ruined the game. And the four of us, or three of us, just had a blast. Like, we actually ended up having a really good time with it. The other girl, Michelle, who was dealing, she was a smoker. She's like, whatever, I'm fine, just leave me. She was a really good craps dealer. She was pretty remarkable. This Irish girl, Michelle Hicks was her name.
I remember one cruise, it was busy as well. There was no other real stronger dealers, and it was the same thing. It was busy, and the boxman was like, John, do you mind spending the entire night on stick? So, and the same thing, because when I'm like, well, I can't spend the entire night. Luckily, there was people who break me, but they would like avoid me, because he goes, I can't watch both ends, and the dealers weren't strong enough. They was like, okay, I'll watch one side, you watch the other. I know you can, they'll make sure they're paid and whatever. So I had to spend the entire night. But the same thing. It was like, if you want it, you can drink. So I was drinking beer on stick. It was good. I was like, all right.
And the players respect you more and really get more involved in it, because they realize that you're giving up something.
Yeah.
Breaks are very important to dealers, and so you're giving that up. So they're kind of on board with it, and like they were starting to try to say, "Oh, I'll buy drinks," and the casino manager's like, "I will be buying the dealers drinks right now. I will be taking care of them." And he was great. Oleg was great. That was when I came back from one of a day at Puerto Vallarta, went over to the gay beach and just drank like a fish. Came back to the casino just wasted and had to work. And this was probably, I was probably on the ship for about a month. And he came up to me, he's like, "On your break, come and see me." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die. The Russian mafia is gonna kill me." And he's like, "You're drunk." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "You're no good to me hungover. So every break, you're gonna come in, you're gonna have a vodka with me, and then you're gonna go back to the craps table." And that was just his. And he's like, and then at the end of the night, he's like, "You ever come back to my casino this drunk again on a shift, you're going home. I gave you the one night, we're gonna drink." And then it was funny because we finished the night and we went to the bar and just really drank. I was scared. I was going home. I didn't know what to think.
And do you know what? I'm like, and I think, I still have, I'm sure we still have friends that are on ships, and, even that experience have changed. It's not as, the parties are not there, the drinking's not there, the corridor parties and all that kind of stuff. But I think we went there at the perfect time, right?
I think so. Like, I mean, if you went back now at this point in your life, do you think you could even do it?
Oh God, my liver couldn't, for sure.
No.
Not like we did before.
I'm looking at this craps background and I'm going, could I even still deal craps? I'm sure I could, but by God, I'd be rusty to start.
I tried to get on a stick I was at this charity event one time a couple of years ago, and they had a funny money casino there and a craps table, and I tried to get on a stick, and I was like, and I wasn't even drunk, I was volunteering there, and I was like, "Oh, can I go on a stick?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "Come on, just give me 5 minutes. If I'm no good, honest to God, you can stop me." Because I hadn't dealt it for a long time. I was like, "Come on, let me have a go." And I was like, I used to do it. I was okay. I'm like, "No." And it was like, "Oh, man."
I did it at Funny Money in Calgary, actually. And the guy was doing the shoe, and he's like, "Here, for you to cut." So I'm like, "Oh, you want me to cut? You want me to shuffle them for you too?" Just being funny. And he's like, "Yeah, sure, here you go." He hands him, and I start shuffling. He's like, "Damn, you're faster than me." I was like, "Well, get out of my way. I'll deal too." And he's like, "Okay." And he moved over, and I was just whipping him out. And his manager comes walking over. He's like, they're like, "What the hell's going on over here?" He's like, "Shh, he's way better than any of us." And I hadn't dealt in years, and they were just coming out like it was yesterday. It was wonderful.
I think it's like muscle memory, right? I mean, I was never really very good at blackjack, in all honesty. I was okay at roulette and okay at craps, I guess. But blackjack, I was never that good, to be honest, at blackjack. I don't know. I was just like clunk. Yeah, I was too ham-fisted, I guess, for blackjack.
I was to start, but when I got on the ships, they really encouraged you to get better and faster, because it was a thing of, the faster the game, the more money it makes for the casino.
Mhm.
So, you wanted only the fast, strong dealers to go to the high limit games and deal that. So I didn't want to deal $5, $3 blackjack anymore. I was like, I want to go actually deal some real games. So you had to get better. And that was the way that you worked your way up.
And I think, to be honest, I think it like why shouldn't it be like that all the time, right? You feel
Absolutely.
better, like you get rewarded for being better. Okay, get better games, and
Yeah.
if you don't want to get better, that's fine too. But just then you get to see all the low limit blackjack for all the time, right?
Yeah, you get stuck on. There you go. We always get on the cruise ships. It would be, you're going to let it ride. Have a good time. I quite enjoyed let it ride because I was a chatty person, so you just got to talk.
I don't think I ever dealt let it ride. No,
Oh,
I never dealt.
I remember on the one ship I was on, it was a punishment to go to Caribbean Stud. So if you did something to tick off that one supervisor, they were like, "You're going to Caribbean Stud poker," and it was this way of trying to show that you've done something wrong. So I used to kind of flip that around, and I'd go to Caribbean Stud, and I would have a riot with the people, and we'd have them laughing, and we'd have the riot. Oh, progressive! Oh, we had just to really tick off the manager who thought that he was trying to stick it to me, put me over there. I'm like, I'll have fun wherever I'm going.
Yeah,
And
that's funny.
myself to have even more fun now because you think it's going to annoy me.
Oh,
Oh my God.
man, so we've been on let it die. Yeah, we've been on here for over like 2 hours and 10 minutes. This is insane.
Too
Yeah,
much.
this is record for sure. Sorry, one quick one. Someone's stealing our ideas, John. Like, trying to
Okay,
future reveal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm up for it.
See, look at that. Yeah, that's a great idea. So the music for a strong or better? What? Oh, for a straight or better. Oh, the let it ride music when you enter it into the
Why it got to be straight, Selena? Huh? I'm sitting here. I gotta always be about the straights.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I that game did not bother me. Let it ride. I always kind of had a good giggle on that one.
it was the same as I never dealt sick bow either. Like, thankfully, I guess. I never dealt sick bow.
Okay,
Let it ride.
the stairs.
She used to be under the stairs. Yeah, it was funny. Sometimes they used to make me when I was in the palace. Anyway, they go into that. Remember, they used to have that one pit with all the prop games, all the donkey games,
Yes.
and I didn't know any of them. I was like, why?
Oh, yeah.
What? I was like, they'd be like, okay, John, you go over there. I'm like, all right. I think they just used to make me go so they'd stop me from sitting down. Like,
Yeah.
okay, John, you have to go, and I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna wander around, joke around with people, and if something goes wrong, I'm like, I don't know, ask him. I don't even know how to play these games.
Oh, you got a progressive? Great. Oh, there's a key needed? Okay, sure.
Yeah, what does that mean? I have no idea.
Well, I remember the letters for pitting because that was G and H, and it was like,
Oh my God,
whenever you got those two, I was like, oh, is that where I'm gonna be tonight? Because you wanted F, which was roulette, because especially on Sundays. Well, because I'm young and the strippers would always come at 11 o'clock and then they would play on the tables. So then all of us would be fighting. It's like, no, I want to be on roulette. And the guy that's on roulette or whoever is pinning is like, I'm not EOing, so no. There was a huge fight over it.
I like relief box.
That was one of the best.
That box for 15, watched roulette for 15, went up to, I think it was Baccarat for 15.
Yeah, that was A. Well, yeah, it was A and I think it was, I don't remember the letters, but A was awesome because you'd set up the trays too. And of course, there's an art to that as well, right? Because it's 1:45, it's we need to get out of here. So then you're calling last three hands, and then you don't want someone to help you. It's no, I got this.
Yeah.
And you're trying to set up the trays as fast as you can. Oh my God, Sheila was amazing at it, right? So then everyone was I want to be like Sheila because she was the fastest. She would
you know how to close it out of a casino.
She had style, yeah, for sure. So, oh my God, look at this! Everyone's Nice
Red
going.
Dog. I never did Red Dog.
Oh, it was the worst. There's like dogs that you can actually pick to put on the spread. Oh, God, yeah. I remember there's this one, because it's a $1 table, right? So then you would like get on this table, and then it's like, hey, you got a new dealer, and then the old lady's like, thank God. Thank God.
I do remember Sickbo with 2 dealers. That actually blew up.
But I think any game when it was more than one dealer,
Yeah.
you can have fun with, right? I mean, like, you really look at all of them. I mean, like, Craps was awesome. Roulette was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I never dealt Sickbo, but, you know, they're saying it was great. Pygar, there was more than 2 dealers. So as long as there was someone else you could have a laugh with too, I mean, it kind of like, those were the games you wanted to deal. The ones when you're like the solitary, like, oh, for God's sake, what am I doing here?
Caribbean stud, Caribbean draw, let it ride, wild jackpot poker, multiple action blackjack. Yeah, there's you can go on.
I come back from the cruise ships and I went to the Century and they took me off craps because it was dead and they're like, we need to go open up a ultimate Texas Hold'em game.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you sending me? I don't know how this. They're like, you'll figure it out. Go. No. Players were like, okay, now tuck those 2 cards in there. Yeah, now okay, no, I'm tapping. You're fine. Just move along. They're telling me how to play. I'm like, oh, you won again? Great.
You're very lucky. You won again. No.
On the cruise ships, we tried to have. It was before they had poker, like Texas Hold'em poker. I wasn't a Texas Hold'em dealer at that point. I'd never dealt poker in my life. But they looked at me like, "You're from Canada. You guys deal Texas Hold'em all the time. Go deal that." It was the first day ever that we had Texas Hold'em. I was like, I actually don't know how to deal this game. Okay, first hand, dealt it out. All's going smooth. Okay, the 2 flip over their cards. I'm like, okay, you win, and I pick up his and chuck him away. And he's like, I had a full house. He's like, I had a pair, and I'm like, oh, did you? So I went into the muck and picked up the cards. These ones? He's like, no, like these ones. He's like, yeah, that was my hand. I'm like, okay, there you go. That day I realized I had to actually learn that game.
Oh.
And I think that was the problem, was that I didn't love poker because it was a solitary game. Like it was a very draining game for me, and that's how I ended my casino career, was dealing nothing but. I did the late night poker shift, 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. At the Century on Fridays and Saturdays, and it just drained me. Seeing the people who had been there all night long, taking over the shift at 8 o'clock in the morning, and my very last shift was from 8 o'clock until about 2 in the afternoon. I was dealing with this one guy, and he just kept swearing and swearing. And of course, we're supposed to say, don't swear, don't swear. And I spent the entire day going, can you stop swearing? Can you stop swearing? Can you stop swearing? Excuse me, can you stop swearing? And my last shift was me going, just fucking stop fucking swearing already. I sorry, I can't swear now, but I had enough, and I just fanned the cards halfway through the hand, stood up, off I went. Walked out, went to the pictures off, like, I think I'm done with Kris-mas. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done. I think I met my realm. And she, your shift's at 4. You have one more shift on the table. Did you want to go back to the last one? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go deal that one. That's fine. So I went and got one more 45-minute shift to like the old guys that I dealt to forever. I'm like, hey guys, enjoy. This is my last 45 minutes in casino life ever. So we had a good little laugh for the last 45 minutes. But my breaking moment was just getting up and screaming my head. I couldn't put up with it. I reached my breaking point.
I think most of us have a story where we just kind of like lost it and just go like, ah, you know how to play it, and then you calm down and be like, oh, this may alter my career, but you know, so.
Yeah, like I was done, and it was funny because I'd already started real estate at that point. I was doing this. I was doing this 2 shifts a week for kind of 3 years, maybe it was even 4 years. You know, just as a side gig. Things started doing good in real estate, so at that point I was like, I don't need this job, and I don't need to put up with this anymore, and I don't need to put up with players like this anymore. So I finally had it. I snapped, and I screamed. Okay.
That would have been awesome.
It was hours of the same thing. He was from players that I've dealt to. He was nowhere near the worst. He was, if the worst was up here, he wasn't even on the scale. It was a bad day, and it hit me.
Sometimes that's all it takes, right? I mean, it's like the wrong play on the wrong day, and you're like, really, do I want to deal with this nonsense anymore?
Well, there's another thing. Of, like, I'm sitting there like looking at the box and I'm like, or the house and I'm like, are you going to do anything about this at some point? Nothing. Nope. Nothing. You've heard me for the last 6 hours say the same thing over. You're not going to either. So there was no support. I think I kind of just had enough at that point.
That part always used to drive me crazy when there's, you wouldn't get management support with problem players. I'm like, you're like, oh, you should do this. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, but you have to support me when he kicks off. If you turn around, if he kicks off and you're like, oh yeah, okay, don't do it again. And I'm like, well, what's the point of me trying to do this, man?
Exactly.
That's what used to drive me crazy.
Yeah, and also because like I would come in as the 8 o'clock dealer, and I was pretty strict on rules, whereas the late night poker dealers were not. And so it was one of those things. Now you got to realm it back in. No cell phones at the tables, guys. You got to put those away. No, at that time, I remember at one point there was no table talk allowed, which I never understood that rule. But no table talk, no lucky chip for your friend. So like the morning crew was very strict on the rules. The evening crew was not. So it was very tough transition at 8 o'clock in the morning, trying to get everyone back onto the realm of what the rules were. Because at some point I was like, I'm doing a real estate deal. Should I just start answering my phone too? Like I can feel it going off in my pocket.
The thing I can't believe is you were up to deal at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I hated it. But I was like, in real estate, I'm like, the weekends, I'm going to need kind of my afternoons and evenings on weekends available. So I was like, I'll just take the early morning shift. It was good money too, because late night poker tips are pretty good. So I get 4 hours of late night poker tips, and then I get 4 hours of the regular floor. And usually I EO and leave most times at noon.
Oh, okay.
So I really ended up enjoying that shift. I hated showing up for it. And it was always me and Karen Grattan. That was always the fun of it. So we just sit there and chit chat.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, you were talking about just support. Like management support. Yeah. I think you're right.
You know that if you're going to make a call, which is the rule on the table, that if someone kicks off, that the person behind you who's in charge is going to come back and go, no, that's the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just the way it is.
Yeah. I find a lot of managers have a hard time doing that and being like approaching, a patron or whatever. I remember doing that. Like one of the dealers, the player was just calling her a bitch, right? And I'm just like, and when you approach someone like this, you can't be like, hello, sir, like go buy the book or whatever. It's like, hey, like, why are you talking to her like that? Like, you have to talk to them just like a normal person. It's like, like, how would you feel if someone talked to you like that? And then he just went to me. He's like, well, she is a bitch. And now so are you. And I'm like, okay, buddy, like, seriously, get out of here. Because it's like, do you think that, like, you can stay after saying something like that? Like, I'm trying to be nice to you. You want to act like that? It's like, okay, go, right? And I think a lot of managers have that. Like, there's a difficulty in being, because you don't know this person. So you're afraid, like, is this person, like, really volatile or whatever? And that's what is really tough about being a manager. It's like, you have to be able to get into that approach and be like, okay, this is how I'm going to, this is how I'm going to face a problem. This is what I'm going to say. And, for something like that, it takes a lot of experience and a lot of time in order for you to feel comfortable about it. Because the first time you do it, it's like your adrenaline's like, oh, like, is this guy going to punch me? And like you get all scared of things like that. So.
No, absolutely. There was a conversation actually last week about, being, she was talking about being a pit boss, because now she's dual rate.
Oh, yeah.
And being a pit boss for people who have dealt that game for 22 years. And how do you be the person who's in charge? It's one of those, I had that exact experience with someone who I love dearly in the casino. I called her mother, but she had dealt roulette for 30 years. And I remember going to the table and it was figuring out a payout, and she had the wrong payout, and I told her what the payout was, and she looked at me like I was a fool. And it was one of those things, but when she went on her break, it was just a little moment of pulling her aside going, I know that you've been dealing with forever. Absolutely. But right now I've got the tuxedo on, and so I'm responsible. So once I've made a call, if it's the wrong call, that's fine. You're off the hook now. I'm off the hook now. So but I will be there to back you up whenever you need that. And have that conversation. Don't do it at a table in front of a player, in front of any players. Have that conversation just on the side quickly. and let them know I'm here to support you, but right now I'm getting paid to be the boss, and I know you know more than I do. But every once in a while, you're going to make a mistake, because I do it every once in a while too. But just be open to that and understand that I have to make this call right now. You know, just have that private little conversation. Never do it on a live table, ever, ever, ever.
That's some really, really good advice.
The last thing you want to do is tell a person who's been dealing with that 30 years that they're doing it wrong in front of their live game or in front of the chipper that's setting next to them.
Yeah. It's that I like how that's the thing, like, you know, what all I want to tell Danielle is like, yeah, you're gonna be the young person for a while, right? You're not, how else are you gonna learn? Because that's always gonna happen. You're gonna wait until you're the oldest person before you say something? No, right? There's always gonna be people that have been there longer.
You're being paid to do a job.
Yeah.
You know, yes, one day you're the dealer, the next day you're the pit boss. I mean, there were people that were triple ranked at the Palace, I remember. And so one day you're the pit manager. You know, whatever the role you are that day, that's what you're going to be, and I'm gonna follow what you're doing.
Yeah.
It has to be. We're probably gonna have a laugh about it in the break room later, but you know, on a live table, just do whatever. If a pit boss makes the call, I do whatever he tells me to do. Simple as that. I'll argue with you later if you were completely wrong. Because as a dealer, it's no longer on me. He's made the call now. I'm off the hook.
Yeah.
So same thing flips.
Yeah, I love Loretta as my pit boss.
She didn't take shit. No.
Loretta, this guy right here.
Yeah.
Look at this. Working with Kris was the best.
Oh, hey, gorgeous. Yes, morning shifts.
Wow. I love Karen.
Like, yeah, this is, I actually just saw her because I was in the casino. Well, actually, I guess it wasn't just. I was getting my tires changed. So I was wasting time and came into the casino.
You were getting your tires changed in the casino?
Next door. I've been going there for years. And they're like, they always say to me, they're like, it's going to be like 2 hours to get your tires changed. I'm like, nah, I'll go to the casino and waste some money. I play my 3-card poker because I love that game. I'm like an old man now.
Oh man. Holy crap. Look at this. It's we've gone well over
Oh shit.
our 30-minute segment. So
This was supposed to be 30 minutes.
we're kidding. It's never been 30 minutes. Yeah, we should do a Zoom call. Probably with the Casino Industry Canada. It'd be cool to have a nice group chat, maybe some sort of contest or events. We'll be doing that in a couple weeks. So any final shout outs there, Kris?
Shout outs?
Well, you got a lot of fans in here that have been in and out and they've been saying hi and everything. So
I think it's just nice to see like all the old school people back on here even.
Yeah.
Like,
don't call them old.
I am too. You know, like they were part of my growing up too. Like a lot of the people that are saying hello right now, they were part of my growing up. And like I always think of like Shirley Saunders, you know, my mom passed away when I was quite young, so she was always like, call me mother. And so I would constantly call her mother. And so like I went through a big phase of my growing up years working at the Palace Casino. So a lot of these people are part of that. And it's really nice to kind of see those names again, hear these names again, talk about these experiences, because that was part of my youth. It was nice. It was fun. It made me who I am, or helped make me who I am.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a great point. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I was the same as you. Well, you know, I started really young. I was like 18 and left when I was older, whatever. But I mean, I think the type of person I ended up becoming was just evolved because of the people I work with in casinos, right? Casinos were my formative years, right? And now I'm out of the business for 15 years, but it's kind of like how I do things today is based on how I was kind of like trained in certain areas and certain things in casinos, right? So I've always, a lot of times I'm looking at, okay, well, how did we do it when I was in casinos, and how did, because I still think, you know, a great run casino is amazing at customer service, right? Especially on chips and things like that, right?
Well, a lot of the skills, even though we're not in the casino industry, a lot of the skills that I learned in the casino industry, I've taken to my career now. You know, it's one of those things of, there's so many great little opportunities that you have that you can, if you take advantage of them, move them to the new career and make them work there. they work across the board. Doesn't matter what the career is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, both of you have I've heard a lot of good things about both of you in your new careers and how you guys have progressed. So you guys have a lot of compliments from all the people that I talked to. So because Chris, I just met John when I started this channel, so like reconnected with John. But Arden was telling me hey, I was like, what's going on? What's new with anybody that we worked with before? And Arden would give me updates, and a lot of the other people would give updates. Same with you. And it's I'm really happy that you guys are having this success, because it means a lot, because it's what the industry was giving you, right? So for me, healthcare was something I didn't think I would ever be in, but to have a career in it right now, I'm blessed, and I give it all to the casino and everybody that kind of watched us grow up. So it's funny because Loretta says that, right? It's I watched all of you grow up.
Yeah, you absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, Loretta watched me grow old.
It's a crazy thought. It's I remember drinking with you, John. You didn't have kids at that point, and now you're telling me that your daughter's just about to become 18. So I mean, life has changed since then too. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's. But we should definitely look at doing a Zoom drink at one point. That would be a fun thing. We figured out how to do it.
Am I the only one who's been drinking this whole time? This is cocktail hour.
I'm sure Joe and Loretta have been drinking with you, Selena. Everybody, Rob. Yeah, everybody on here is probably drinking.
I wasn't sure what the rules were, so I just made my own.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's the Wednesday rule, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Well, no, it's literally an 8 o'clock at night rule.
It's happy hour, so usually it's happy hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah.
The bar cart is full, and it is ready. There are decanters galore. When you have it.
See, yeah. All right. So, it's almost your birthday week. There you go.
It's yours too, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And Wayne Gretzky's daughter.
That's random.
My dad came home on my birthday to go, oh my God, do you know who was born today? And I was like, me? Oh, Wayne Gretzky's daughter. I was like, what about me? I always remember that day.
Oh, that's funny. I've been drinking.
I love it.
Open that liquor cabinet again, because you guys have some time on your hands now. So, oh my goodness. Well, John, anything else you wanted to add before we?
No, this has always been. To be honest, I really enjoy coming on every week and catching up with everybody. And it's been great seeing you, Chris. It's always fun. And man, 2.5 hours, and it's just flown by. It's been a true pleasure to see you again, mate. I really do enjoy catching up with you.
As well, this was a blast. I can't wait to actually watch the whole Craps one so I can remember if I remember that game.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I'm trying to figure out the roulette payout from an hour and a half ago. So,
well, thanks for being on. Hopefully, you can participate in some of our future events and other things. So, thanks for joining and just watching us and being part of this channel, Chris.
It's been great. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Down memory lane here.
Oh, look, you have fans. It's amazing.
Oh,
so, all right, guys. Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on, guys.
Yeah, no, thanks again. Thanks for being on. John, do you want to close? Because you're driving, so.
Oh, well, Chris, like I said, it was great having you on. It really is, and you've got so many great stories, and we all know how great it was to work with you, and everybody on here who's worked with you know how great it was. And thanks for coming on and sharing the experiences with any new people that watch this, and about encouraging them and stuff like that. And also sign up for Jay's stuff, because Casino Dealer Jay, that's where you need to sign up for this stuff, because it really is awesome. And without Jay, none of this would be possible. And even really the casino group, the Facebook group. How do you know it and I can't? I've been doing this for weeks now, and I still have. I'm like, this is where This is why I could never back up a trailer. I'm just like directionally
You're doing
I
sign
You grew up in
up.
the era of Super Nintendo. You grew up in the era of Atari. That's why.
You sign up and it's like Hair's Gone John. So it's like sign up to Hair's Gone John.
well, again, like it's just so much fun catching up with everyone, and hopefully whoever watched it had as much fun as we did. It's great. So
Thanks so much, guys.
good night, guys.
Okay, guys. Yeah, take care. Have a good one.
Good night.
Good night.